And good morning. Welcome. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London television as well. The Community Court of Justice of the Economic Community of West African States, that's ECOWAS, has dismissed an application filed by the former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, which sought to temporarily halt the fact-finding committee's work that inquired into the petition for her removal. This is the provisional measure that was to temporarily protect her and her rights and prevent irreparable harm pending the final determination of the substantive case. Now, in a ruling which we've been following and how things have played out over the last few days, delivered on November 19, 2025, the court was of the opinion that the applicant, Justice, the former Chief Justice, filed the application for the provisional measure more than 8 weeks after her suspension and more than 6 weeks after the committee's hearing commenced. We'll understand all of that, so stay with us and what all of this means legally. It also added that the applicant's own showing defeated the imminence and an exceptional circumstance required for the court to temporarily halt the proceedings pending the final determination of the substantive case. In fact, that's not the only thing that happened. The Attorney General, or the state, the Republic of Ghana, has also been giving a 30-day period to file its response. So essentially, what is going to happen is that in the next 30 days, ECOWAS is readying itself, the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice is readying itself to hear this case and the details of this substantive case that the former Chief Justice sent to it. What does all of this mean? We'll have a conversation this morning. Also coming up, the Office of Special Prosecutor has announced that the former Finance Minister Kenneth Danayao Ofori-Atta and 7 others will be arraigned before court Monday, the 24th of November, to face 78 counts of corruption and corruption-related offenses. 78. Well, there was an update that we got from the OSP stated that the prosecution will seek the necessary court orders to serve these persons and those who are also not in the jurisdiction. Well, the charge sheets are specifically on the fugitives who are currently outside this country. How is this going to play out, especially because this is a criminal case? And you've heard the lawyers of Kenneth Ofori-Atta already raise some issues. We'll have a conversation this morning, and you know, the development of Kenneth Ofori-Atta being taken off the red notice of Interpol. Does it have any specific impact in how things are playing out right now? This morning, we'll have a conversation. If you recall, earlier in the week, Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, was invited by the special prosecutor on some related matters. So we'll have a conversation on this development and also have a quick update on how the coming days will look like, as the special prosecutor has now preferred some 78 charges on Kenneth Ofori-Atta and 7 others. Well, earlier in the week, a military officer with the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, that's NIMOS, was confirmed dead after the team's vehicle was involved in an accident. Unfortunate development. 4 other military officers who are reported to be in critical condition. Some of them have been referred to the Anglo Gold Obuasi Hospital. We understand they are responding to treatment positively after first receiving treatment at the Obuasi Government Hospital. Well, the conversation this morning is yes, NIMOS has been lauded as a potent intervention in this fight against Galamsey. They need resources, but what else can and should be done to ensure that this fight against Galamsey is essentially being won? Because we've seen a number of interventions, but yet, day in, day out, we continue to see these illegal miners continue to destroy forest cover, pollute water bodies. Why isn't all of this NIMOS operations, EPA, at some point the IGP's own task force, all these is not deterring the illegal miners? Thousands of them have been arrested, but yet they are still going there to do the illegality. What's going on? So we'll have a conversation this morning. We have this as well being the focus on Poll Tracker right after this quick break. So stay with us here on Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're back shortly after this quick break. My guests taking their seats already. We'll have a conversation. I'm Alfred Kansey. Welcome.
Didn't learn it for the. That's why I sent it earlier.
We did. I've learned the first day, but the second one.
Sleeping in the belly of the beast, I was worried. No one there to call where I thought it's my telly. Mini grand neighbor, Nina, Moko Ellie. Yeah, brother, I was heavy.
So throw your hands in the air and do what you like, or you can hop.
I'm sweating. Yeah, because I'm going on TV like that. No, of course not.
And so you only come one and come one, not yet the next one.
New students come. New students come. The classmate. I swear. Smallest time, 5 weeks time, we see. 5 weeks time. Big one. The faces will be changed for you. I swear. You go see your happiness or your face. One by one. They will left for your face. Very necessary.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Because it's focused.
Coming live and wake up by Kojo Entry. We have, ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, welcome your 16 contestants to start the electrifying.
Richie wants to say one or two.
So let's pay attention.
Alright. Hi everyone.
Hi,
My voice is gone. Easy. Hope you're feeling good.
Yes.
This is possibly going to be the toughest journey of your life. Now I know no profession is easy. Being a doctor is not easy. Being a lawyer is not easy. No profession is easy. But I want you to understand this. Only 1% of musicians make it. 1%. And this is a global thing. So that means that first of all, if you are not the hardest working person in the room, give up now. You are the underdogs. You are the ones people don't know yet. People are looking to see, okay, what have they got? The only reason you are here is because you believe you are supposed to be here. So now that you have the chance, prove it. Okay? See you guys next week.
It's not the one we will do pitches where some flat people come some
In times when we stars and the tides are raging high, we know it shall win. We know we'll survive again. Shall wash away.
You record that, man?
Yes, sir.
Hustler, never envy another soul. But you never know what the man got planned. But you know I will reap whatever you sow.
This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London Television as well. Well, over the last few days, the unfortunate incident that happened that claimed the life of a member of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has been lauded as one of the potent interventions in the fight against Galamsey. They have their own challenges. But then again, that's an issue that we're going to get neck deep into. This morning on Poll Tracker, as you do know, we track events that bother us in the environment, politics, governance, economics, and issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people. And our focus and our lenses on the Poll Tracker this morning is on the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS. Over 400 plus personnel that they have. That has also been a major call for them to also have a lot more, because the fight against Galamsey is a big issue. How much of an impact can these 400 plus personnel have, taking into consideration the magnitude of the problem that we're faced with illegal mining? There's been a number of calls for this staff strength to be increased. That comes with more money, because if you're increasing the number of persons or personnel on the NIMOS operation, the allowances, the food, feeding, everything else that would have to be put in place to ensure that they are doing their work effectively goes into money, the finances. The budgetary allocation for the NIMOS operations for the 2026 budget is 150 million Ghana cedis, woefully inadequate as some have described it. Well, you have the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources indicate that they are also reaching out to other institutions, private sector and others. We've seen a number of organizations, Gold Board, others donate to this NIMOS to help them do their job, pickups and others. This is what is in the budget as far as we do know. Well, they made over 1,600 arrests over the period. And we'll show you at least the operations that we've been tracking over time. And one other question that comes up, which we're going to be getting into shortly, is that if you recall, when this Abrewa and Ninkrine community, when the Western region was raided by the task force of the Forestry Commission, there were thousands of illegal miners there. They couldn't arrest them because they said, if they have to arrest them, where are they taking them? Do we have the present capacity to as it were, have them all incarcerated? Well, what happens there? There are over 1,600 persons, illegal miners, who have been arrested. Where are they? What's happening to them? Okay. Well, we've seen the bill that has been approved by Cabinet to ensure that there's a tribunal in place to deal speedily with these cases of illegal mining. This is what we've seen over the period. In recent, at least within this month of November, the number of operations that NIMOS has engaged in Osino, 36 arrests were made. In Osino, 36 arrests on November 8. Then, on November 12, there was a multi-regional raid. Some 300 plus illegal miners were arrested. You remember this incident that involved the attack on the EPA staff and some of our colleague journalists as well. And the Amori night raid, that 7 persons were arrested, firearms seized on November 13. November 16, Wassa, Abrechia, mining shelters were also destroyed. We'll show you videos of that shortly. And then also the Obuasi raid, the equipments that were seized, the camps that were destroyed on November 17 as well. And this is an issue that also came up strongly for conversation as to the coordinated efforts that have to be put in place to ensure that the efficiency of the operations of NIMOS is increased. The last is what happened on November 19 that led to the death, the unfortunate incident, the death of one of the personnel of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS. This is how the concentration of the operation of NIMOS has been. This is the heat map, the areas of focus. They've been heavy in the Ashanti region, Western North region. And it's for good reason, because previously we showed you what has been happening when it comes to illegal mining in these specific areas where NIMOS's operation has been concentrated. They are tracking illegal miners. They have their challenges, which has led to what we've seen also being recorded. In fact, when it comes to the injured, NIMOS is not the only group, or as it were, the intervention of personnel who have been affected as a result of the attacks by illegal miners. We have the Forestry Commission Task Force as well that has been affected. In fact, a number of their staff have been injured in the line of duty in the fight against Galamsey. We'll show you that shortly, but this is it. These are the issues that are of concern. Underfunding, logistical concerns, community resistance and clashes, political interference, low prosecution rate. And the Attorney General explained what exactly has led to this low prosecution rate and the interventions that have been put in place to, as it were, ensure that the prosecution is done speedily to serve as a deterrent to persons who are engaged in Galamsey. Well, this is how the picture of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations, NIMOS, looks like. And the specific demands that have been made to ensure that their interventions also are improved. Well, what you're seeing right now are pictures from an operation not by NIMOS, but by the Forestry Commission Task Force that has also been set up to fight illegal miners. This is it. So it's not the only one. The NIMOS is not the only intervention that we've seen in the fight against Galamsey. In this one, these Forestry Commission officers have also had their own fair share of attacks on them. Nana Bosompim is the Western Region Manager of the Forestry Commission, and he's joined me now on Zoom. Nana Bosompim, thank you for joining us here on Key Point. If you can unmute and then tilt down a bit for me. No, yes, perfect. Now unmute for me. Thank you.
Yeah, that is done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning to you, Alfred, and good morning to your cherished viewers. It's a pleasure being with you this morning.
Indeed, it's always a pleasure also having you, Nana. And I was just showing our viewers a video, and in fact pictures of one of your personnel, that is the Forestry Commission Task Force set up to fight Galamsey, also sustaining some injuries on the arm as a result of the attacks by illegal miners. Just walk us through, right? This one, the one whose both hands have been bandaged as a result of the injury sustained. You have a clear picture of what I'm talking about. Just walk us through exactly what happened.
Yes, thank you very much. This was an operation in the Subri River Forest Reserve in the Takrade Forest District of the Western Region. Now, I think for the last 6 months, it has been a relentless and a sustained effort to keep the illegal mining menace in the forest reserves under a measure of control. And this was closer to the Abrani crime portion of the Subi River Forest Reserve, where we keep burning or immobilizing Shamfa machines, Galamsey equipment, and the people keep bringing the equipment on daily basis. We keep arresting on daily basis, and the next day you find that new equipment has been installed. I think the people have evolved some modus operandi lately, where you do not see excavators inside the forest reserve as you used to do in the past. But now they come out with the pumping machines, with the Shamfa machine set up in a portion of the forest reserve. And when you go there, the carnage may be unbearable, very destructive. But now the people know that anytime we can, because the Shamfa machines are so heavy, we cannot convey them. We resort to immobilizing them or burning them. Let me be very specific here. So now before they leave, on a particular day, they laced the ground around the machine with fuel, either petrol, diesel, or whatever mix that they are using. So when you go there and they just drop some fuel on the machine, immediately you light it up because the whole ground has been laced with fuel already. In the process of lighting the machine, you end up lighting yourself. And this has happened to quite a number of our personnel. In the process of lighting up or immobilizing the Shamfa machines, they themselves are lit up and then they sustain various degrees of burning. So the officer you showed on the screen, one hard-working officer within the Tarkwa Forest District, that was exactly what happened to him. And even last week in the Tarkwa Forest District, we had a similar incident where in an attempt to immobilize such machines, we have 1 or 2 officers sustaining various degrees of burning to their body.
I see. So these illegal miners light up the forest or their area. They pour petrol on the ground.
Oh, yes. In fact, when you see this, it tells you that at the time we were approaching, they were already there. But they also have a very good and effective surveillance system where they keep track of our vehicles, where we are heading to. Somebody radios information to them. And because the whole area has a very good network coverage, they get a hint that probably this is what we are coming to do. And once we get there, because we cannot convey these heavy Shamfa machines to our vehicle because we need to trek or walk on foot for like 1-2 hours before we get to the site. They don't do the mining on the peripheries of the forest. They go right into the heart to obscure themselves. So after walking for 2-3 hours to get to the site, they know you are coming, and they know once you are coming to the site, this is your intent. You are going to mobilize the machine. So they lace the ground with fuel, which you will not see. But you think, oh, I've discovered the site, I need to quickly immobilize the machine. Once you lit it up, you will be in an area laced with fuel, and the whole area goes up in the conflagration. If you don't take care, you yourself may be severely burnt. That is what they are doing now.
I see. So it's a worrying development. If you say that they get information, they are well networked in such a way that they get information ahead of time that you are coming to the forest where they are operating. So they prepare for you.
Oh yes, exactly. Exactly.
In
fact, there are sometimes that maybe they get an information and they mobilize, they bring their armed groups, they bring their own security. You see heavily built men. I don't know where they are coming from, whether they are even Ghanaians. They look well fortified, they have weapons. We've seen the musket, we've seen the pump actions, we've seen some AK-47 rifles with them. And these are the guys that come with heavy so-called spiritual fortifications. In fact, you see talisman and other object rings on their hands. They look so fierce, not open to any dialogue. So sometimes their sheer numbers is able to cause us to retreat because we come in a convoy of about, let's say, 15 to 20 officers and go and meet 800 to 1,000 people standing there waiting for you. Sometimes it's better to retreat because we believe retreat is another phase of war. We go and regroup and come back again.
The heavily built men who look fortified spiritually.
Yes.
Describe that to me.
Yes. I don't know where they come from, but when you see them, they look so fierce. All of them are in dreadlocks, long dreadlocks. They seem to wear some dirty clothes with fugu and with charms, amulets, talisman all over their bodies. In fact, it is believed that when you shoot these people, they may not be harmed. They are fortified against gunshot wounds. They are fortified against machete attacks and the like. Well, these are statistic events I cannot independently confirm. But what I have seen with my naked eye, when some of them were arrested, the kind of charms and amulets and other things that we see from these people, it tells you they really did have some spiritual fortifications. There was one incident when one of them was arrested, and then I think he resisted. About 5 of my men could not even put the guy down until somebody told us that the talisman that the guy is wearing is in the singlet. Can you imagine the singlet? And looking closely at the singlet, we saw some Arabic writings, a lot of them all over. It looks dirty unless you look closely before you are able to. Somebody asked us to cut it. So we cut through the singlet. That's how come the guy became weak and he was arrested. And because he struggled a bit, he got injured. So when we brought him to the Takoradi Regional Police Command, they advised that he seek some medical attention. And I'm told when he was taken to hospital, even trying to find an IV line, penetrating the skin with the needle was very difficult. Telling you that really the people do have some fortifications. And these are the people we have to contend with in our fight against illegal mining in forest reserves.
Wow. As they are spiritually fortified and you are also physically not even armed enough to deal with them, with all the shortcomings that you're having to face with. Please stay with me, Nana. Thank you for this, but stay with me. Let me acknowledge the presence of Martin Kpebu. Is private legal practitioner. He is a member of the oral preparatory team. They've wrapped up their work, but also very passionate about the environment and matters we're talking about with Galamsey. Lawyer Martin Kpebu, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. Kansi. It's good to be here. Ghana's #1 show.
Indeed.
Yes, and uncontested, unparalleled, right? Yes, and dominating all over. #1, right? Popping the charts as usual. But today we start on a different note. Today we are mourning the passing of the mother of Callistus Mahama. So Madame Salome Ama Mahama is being laid to rest this morning in Salaga, in the Savannah region. So we extend our condolences to the family, his father and the rest of the family. All right. Okay, so once again...
but what was the name of the hat you have today?
I say it's just another fedora. Yes.
A fedora?
Yes, it's a fedora.
I see.
Yeah, good. Yes.
Anyway, just for the uninitiated.
Yes. So, dear men above 40, once again, the bells on going to check your prostate health. Check your prostate health, because, it's easy to prevent than to cure, right? With just about 1,200, you could conduct the test so that you know where you are on the scale and whether you need more medical intervention or you are fine, right? Coincidentally, yesterday I saw something on Sky News. In the UK, they are testing a new technology to help detect prostate cancer. We hope the research goes well, right? Yeah, so that it will be scaled up. But in the meantime, what we have is also good enough. So just go in there, then have yourself tested. Let's see how it goes. Okay, once again, we want to thank Osei Adeoyo Ajimanbedu II, Domahini, for standing up when a lot of big people in society chose to be quiet because they were thinking about their wives and children alone. Very selfish thoughts, right? So, Domahini, thank you for not shying away. You spoke when you had to. And you have to continue to do same because it's still the governance in progress. We are still work in progress. So you'd have to continue talking. Otherwise, very soon we'll show that, is it bias? So it doesn't matter that now you are in the court of appeal. You have to continue to talk, right? Then the same for ex-Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo, who is Akufo-Addo's relation, but didn't think that because Akufo-Addo made her Chief Justice, she should keep quiet when Akufo-Addo was misgoverning. So she spoke up and spoke up. So we are very grateful. Togbe Afede, Akpe Kaka, thanks a million for also speaking up, right? And then, of course, Kentucky Tech Ochuru II, Gamanche, the man leading the charges for the recovery of the Cecilia Dapa money. Gamanche, maybe she will be visiting Mr. Raymond Acha one of these days so that we will get an update on the Cecilia Dapa matter because we must recover that money. Yes, we must. We really must. And apart from the 52.5 billion matter that has been reported to the OSP, A valiant citizen has woken up, Reverend Abraham Lincoln Labi. He's organizing a demonstration on Tuesday, 25th November, against Kissie Ejabin. He wants the removal of Kissie Ejabin. So please, Ghanaians, stand up in your numbers. I had announced I was going to organize one myself, not knowing there was already one in progress.
It's actually a matter of conversation.
Yes. So
we'll get there.
Yeah, so turn up in your numbers. Turn up in your numbers. Let's drive Kissie out of office. Kissie Ejabin must leave. Once he sat and said he saw Ofori-Atta leave, he intercepted the letter. This one is not
hold your part on that one, because it's a subject of conversation. So
Thank you.
Let me bring in Dr. Joshua Zato. He's a senior lecturer, political science department, University of Ghana, Legon. And I've always said that whenever you come, Dr. Zato, that parliamentary ambition to represent the people of, this is Sisala East,
Yes.
On the ticket of the MPP is not one that you are shelving, right? It's still on the banner, is it not?
You need to write a check.
That's
Martin has already said he will write a big check. So
Okay,
I'm looking
perfect.
for a check. And
Okay.
Madam too, probably after this, I will see you to write a check. Good
Wonderful.
morning to
Provided
you.
you will be balanced.
Good
Provided
morning
you
to
be
you.
balanced.
Good morning
Yeah.
to listeners and good morning to everyone. It's great to be here today. And I just wanted to quickly opening remarks two things. I want to start from where the gentleman on the screen talked about the people at the Galamsey using amulets and spiritual fortification. No, look, I think that as part of the government response, the government needs to also come out with a spiritual fortification policy and strategy to also protect
For
these
9
people.
months.
Yeah, so I will recommend that they go
Forest
to
Convention.
Tumu. See, let's go. I'll talk to my fathers, I'll talk to my grandfathers and my uncles. We need to visit Tumu Wihaya, we need to visit Mandruan Leporong, we need to go to Dagbaso. We're going to go to all these gods and also get enough fortification so that when you are going there, you will be equally armed. So I'm just telling the gods of the Sisala land, I will need to intervene to get them to help you. So in that order, Tumu Wihaya, Mandruan Leporong, Dagbaso, they will help you to make sure that we do that, because we cannot leave the fight alone. This fight has a spiritual aspect, as you said. We should do that too. Secondly, the second thing I want to quickly talk about is that it has been about 8 months now. So far, we've not heard any major thing on the anti-LGBT bill. Your Excellency, Mr. President, you told Ghanaians earlier this year that you would get this bill to Parliament, that you prefer a public bill from the Attorney General to go to Parliament to do this. Mr. Moses Fuamoni has been fighting for this. The Ghana Catholic Bishops has been fighting on it. Christian Council was in the Jubilee House to talk about this. But there seems to be a dead silence about the public aspect of that bill. Mr. President, this is one of the biggest issues. You will now have the international cover you need for this. President Trump came out to say that there are only two sexes, male and female. You will not face any international retribution if you just go ahead with the public sector for this bill. So the question is, why the delay? Why are you not giving the people the public bill on anti-Galamsey that you said you were going to give us? I don't want to believe that there are powerful lobbies that are lobbying against that. I don't want to believe that, because I don't think that there's anybody on the powerful corridors of the Jubilee House who are fighting against it. So my question is, why? Why the delay, and why you're not sending an LGBT? The constant delay in sending this is sending shivers down the hearts and minds and spines of people who believe in this. The constant, because it's a promise, and it's something that we all need. If all of us have agreed that we need this bill, if all of us did as done, then let's not even do it through a private bill, as you yourself have said. So, Mr. President, please, it's time for you to show that you walk the walk and you talk the talk. Okay. Let's do that.
Right. Just an update on that. I'm sure probably it may have just slipped you a bit or lost out on you. But this week, the Christian Council called on the President, Dr. Zato, and he reiterated the commitment of this government to pass this anti-LGBTQ plus bill into law, and said they are awaiting what will happen in Parliament, because Parliament now, as the Speaker ruled 3 weeks ago, would have this bill reintroduced because it wasn't passed into law in the previous Parliament. And so as long as the law pertains, every bill that is not assented to into law by the President, the entire process will have to start again.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
So,
What Parliament is trying to do now is a private member's bill.
No, it's the cabinet bill. But people have raised serious questions about that. One with
So, you
the
want it to be
charges
a
on the
government
constitution, the
one?
public accounts,
Okay.
that it will be struck down. So, but the president, if you remember, when he made, he also said he also preferred a public bill. That means that he preferred a bill brought by the Attorney General. So my question is, whilst what Parliament is doing, whatever it is, why don't you just send a public bill there? That is what I'm saying. Why doesn't he tell his Attorney General that it has been since January, February that I said I want a private public bill? Where is the public bill? Why are you not sending it now? Because if you do that, then whatever is happening in Parliament, you have an overwhelming majority. It's about priorities.
So you want that to be...
Yes, if it was a priority, we've seen how this government has dealt with priority issues. We've seen that. Emergency settings to get the fuel destined pass, emergency settings to even declare public holiday. So if this thing was a priority for the government, what I'm saying is that by now it should have gone to Parliament, by now we should have passed it, by now it should have signed it. The delaying is what is worrying. It's worrying to everybody. It's worrying to Christendom in Ghana. It's worrying to Muslims in Ghana. It's worrying to the traditionalists in Ghana. It's worrying to everybody that believes that if we don't do it now, this is a window we have. If we don't do it now, and tomorrow there's a Democrat in the White House, we cannot get it done again.
All right. So, well, as we speak, beyond what has been said this week, you want a lot more to be done. We keep an eye at least on what has started in Parliament as we continuously update our viewers on it, and especially the comments last week. In fact, the past few days, the Reverend Tim Fodio, who is the lead proponent now, together with some 9 other members of Parliament who are sponsoring this private members' motion, are also now making calls for this anti-LGBTQ plus bill to be put on Parliament's business as soon as possible. Well, we won't see that happen this coming week. So we'll see how the next weeks will look like on this. But thank you for this. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Awula Sewa. Awula Sewa is the co-founder of Eco-Conscious Citizens and also a passionate environmentalist. Awula, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. I mean, first of all, our condolences to the NAMOS personnel who lost his life actively fighting irresponsible mining, and to all those who are injured, all those who are fighting for their lives. Our prayers are with them. And for me, when we talk about spiritual fortification, we just go to the Lord. We serve a living God. And when we trust in him and we take the necessary steps, he's given us wisdom, we will be able to overcome the scourge of irresponsible mining. But let me say this, we've asked for a long time for a targeted state of emergency, and we've been told we are not there. So what we need to understand is that what will show that we are there. Our river bodies are being poisoned, our forest reserves decimated, kidney disease has gone up 4-fold, our food, scientists tell us that the food they tested has been poisoned, and then we have law enforcement being attacked by environmental terrorists. So what are we waiting for? The window of opportunity to deal with this matter is fast closing. If we don't act now and act decisively, we will sink to the level of some Latin American countries where the drug cartels control some parts of the country and even the army cannot get there. We haven't reached there yet. So we need to take the necessary action now before we reach there. And let me say that in the fight against illegal mining, we need to harness the support of the community. For example, in Atronsu, in the Western North region, we have the activists who have been for years fighting to protect the Atronsu stream, which sadly has become polluted, and their environment. And the thanks they got was to be arrested, 5 activists, on Farmers' Day last year. And we have sent out a petition calling on the Attorney General to drop the charges against the activists. We're also hearing about activists in the Draw River Forest Reserve who want to protect the forest reserve. But unfortunately, they are the ones who are facing what they deem to be intimidation by law enforcement. So NAMOS needs to work with activists in our various regions who want to stop the scourge of illegal mining. They should not be taken as opponents. And of course, we need to go to those who are actually financing this scourge. Some of them are known, some of them have been reported, and action needs to be taken against them. And NAMOS needs to be properly resourced. It needs to be properly resourced. We need also the numbers to be able to deal with the environmental terrorists. And when You go, when an operation, you need to retreat, we have to promptly go back and complete the operation so that the environmental terrorists realize that what is going on will not be tolerated. Ghanaians are not going to sit there and be poisoned. And law enforcement, NAMOS, must all play their part. But I accept that they need the logistics. So they need to be properly resourced. And one thing that they don't seem to have is even a dedicated phone line where you can call them. A phone line number was given at one of the panels I was on. I tried the number myself. It goes to an individual, and he tells us that he would give us the number, but we haven't yet got it. So I'll be pleased if before this program is up, we have the number that any member of the public can call if they see an excavator moving to a forest reserve or anything that NAMOS needs to nip in the bud. Thank you.
It's a very important initial comment you made, and we'll still stay on this path. Nana, the concern that you raised about this spiritual fortification and all of that, it's generated some conversation on our various social media handles, and the fact that now, even though you are going in with ammunition, with guns and with all other resources to clamp down these illegal miners, to the extent that some of them are spiritually fortified, you have a shortfall. Dr. Zato has a very interesting recommendation about you coming to him so that he take you to Sisala, to Tumu, for you to be spiritually fortified, so you can do this. I will ask Sewa says, look, go to church, go and pray. God will give you the maximum protection. But how much of a deficit are you faced with as a result of this spiritual side of the fight against Galamsey? Because Kofi Bento made a point earlier, that's a couple of weeks ago, that gold is a spirit. And so, even when people die in the pit, these legal miners see it as good luck, right? To get more gold. And you, in your operations, you've burnt a number of shrines that you've seen in the forest. Nothing has happened to you. So, how do you recommend that, if this spiritual side of the fight is of a great concern to you, how much of it is impacting on the efficiency of your fight in the forest?
Thank you very much again, Alfred. Yes, like I said, it is true. We've been some shrines in the forest. In fact, in our arrest, we've been arrested fetish priest who was an advance team. They came in advance to prepare the grounds for the miners to come in. And normally they see them with the red, white fowls. They tell you when they do their sacrifices, the people are able to obtain more good. We see these things all the time, but for me and my gentlemen, my field officers, my resource guards, I describe them as the men in the arena. And in fact, in one of the videos, which I wish I had shared with you, when we got into the Subi River Forest Reserve, the people fled, but the 45 men, spiritually 45 men, number about 14, were just there, standing there with arms folded, fierce-looking face, waiting for us. Except that there were only 14, and we numbered about 30. So we just went in straight on the. We were able to overpower some of them. We seized their motorbikes, we seized their tricycles, and those that were so strong, that were resisting, were the ones we managed to put down. They got injured, but then still were able to effect arrest and bring them to the police station. So they claim to have spiritual fortifications. So long as there are no brazen bullets flying in the air, we are not deterred. We will face them, we are able to arrest some of them. But what we fear is that if they claim to have fortification against gunshots, and we go inside the forest and they are shooting, people are firing shots here and there, it means they are fortified, we are not fortified. You see me dressed like this in my bulletproof vest because we are going for an operation right after this program. But I tell you, all my officers, none of them has a single bulletproof like this. This is something I purchased myself to protect my own body. If you take forest guards,
none of them have what?
Protective clothing. We are talking about bulletproof vest, bulletproof helmet, something that will protect our officers as they enter the forest. And mind you, we sometimes enter the forest in the dead of the morning or at dawn, around 12 midnight. So just imagine if somebody is hiding within the woods with a weapon fixed on us, it could be terrible. It means we are putting our officers in harm's way. So if you take a typical forest guard, they are the ones patrolling the fringes of the forest, the boundaries of the forest. All that the forest guard has is his uniform, and to my greatest surprise, a machete, and the people, the illegal perpetrators within the forest reserves are well armed. So right from the word go, it tells you that the forest guard is unable to deal with these people, especially when they are armed and he is only holding a machete. So I believe strongly that a time has come that we need to retool the Forestry Commission. In fact, if you look at our sister West African countries, Eastern Africa, forestry has always been a pseudo military organization. They bear arms, they have the power to bear arms to protect themselves and to protect the reserves. But that is not so in Ghana. So we need to look at the act that established the Forestry Commission once again. It should be amended to make the Forestry Commission of Ghana a pseudo military organization so that the field officers, the forest guards, the range managers can be properly armed, protected, so that they can go on fiercely in their fight to protect the forest. Until that is done, I tell you, we may be running.
Sorry. Apologies for this. We'll try to reconnect with Nana Bosompim again. He is the Western Regional Forestry Commission manager there. He's been leading a team that's the Forestry Commission's own task force set in place to fight illegal mining in some of the forests in the Western region. We've seen what happened in Abrewa and Ninkran. That community that had over 6,000 legal miners, they went there and then they dealt with them. He's talking about the challenges, and it's troubling, Lama, to be able to get to hear today that some of these persons in the forest fighting illegal miners who are fortified physically and spiritually, they are armed to the teeth, as he's described it. They go in there without bulletproof vests and helmets, and they have to fight these people. Council?
The revelation that they don't have bulletproof vests has shocked me. Yeah, it shocked me. I'm a bit speechless. Look, I can't believe it. No. Yeah, I'm speechless because it's too obvious for comment. How much does it cost? No, this fact doesn't bode well for the fight. Yeah, I know we are constrained, but not bulletproof vests. Not bulletproof vests. I mean, even can't we rent some from the military? Because as far as I'm aware, we are not at war. And so you can presume that the Ghana Armed Forces would have some. The Ghana Police Service would have some. So can't we shift around? This one, no. It's, yeah, as I keep saying, it beggars belief. Are we sure the Colonel has pushed enough? Colonel Boa, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So the military have to give up some of the vests. The police will have to give up some of theirs because, as I said, as far as I'm aware, we are not at war. So it means that we can't be using all of those vests. Yeah, when we go to peacekeeping, peacekeeping brings us money. So we should be able to buy more if we need that. So I believe we can rent some. Let's raise it. Maybe you should interview the Minister for Interior and the Acting Minister for Defense. This can be done. Let's take what we have in store and give this young men and women, because this is basic. It's basic. We don't need to, embarrass ourselves like that. Why would you keep what we have in store? And then some people are out there. It's like somebody was telling me yesterday, it's like taking a knife to a gunfight. There is a gunfight, and then you go to the fight with a knife. How? That means you haven't even come prepared. So this one, I think, is a huge oversight. If you interview the Minister for Interior today and the Acting Minister for Defense, I'm sure in 2 days they will bring out the bulletproof vest that we have to give to this young man. We are not going to any war anytime soon. I can guarantee you that. So please remove what we have in stock to give this young man. When was the last time we went to war? And as far as I'm aware, there is no danger right now. Please, let's do it. Because this is too embarrassing. Because, even I'm tempted to think we can't move any V8 in Accra if these young men don't have the bulletproof vest in 2 days. then let's auction some of the V8 too. Let's auction some of the V8s, because I can guarantee you that all the ministers, before they came into office, they had private cars. So if we cannot find any bulletproof vests in stock, if we don't have any as reserves, then straight away we'll auction some of the V8s that the ministers drive. That would be it. Yes, because if we are suggesting that there's no money in the kitty, well, I'm not in charge of it. So this suggestion that these guys are not using the bulletproof vest is that there's no money. So if there's no money, the first line will be that, okay, give up some of the cars, let's auction to raise funds. Yes, because as I said, every minister, by the time you get to a ministerial level in Ghana, you would have had a private car before coming into office. So give up the V8s, a few of them, that's those who had multiple cars. They should give up the V8s, let's auction, and then buy the bulletproof vest, and then we can, move on from there.
You want the ministers and others who own V8s to auction them?
Those, a few. Oh, we don't need all. So we'll check. Some are more resourced than others. Some are some were wealthy in private life before. So those people should give up their V8s. Let's auction. It will be
to raise funds for the fight against Galamsey.
Yes, what it does is that it gives a very positive signaling effect. You see, I know what I'm saying. So that if you say that this minister gave up his V8, etc., what it does is that it sends a positive signal to the foot soldiers that yes, it's worth dying for the country. Because once you have cars, we all sitting at this table, we have our private cars. So if tomorrow this Awula Sewa gets appointed as Minister for Environment and she's given a V8, she still has a private car. So if NIMO's officers don't have bulletproof vests, Awula Sewa say no, take the V8 back, auction it, let's see what we can raise. That is what you do, because remember that at the core of it, public service is not to enrich ourselves. And you see, to even be practical, the reason when I say give up the V8, look, we've said it ad nauseam. When you go into those big offices, it's not all the money that's corruption. There are huge gifts, huge gifts, because, we'll leave that for another day. But it's just to tell you that practical. So I know what I'm saying. It's not as if you go into the office, it's penury. No, some of the contractors, they are grateful. We are fighting that in another manner. But the laws don't prohibit gifts. That's why, even our national code fighting against corruption, they increased it to 20,000. I think the government wanted to be realistic, but it sent a wrong signal to people down the ladder, because it was like, hey, you can give 20,000. It looks huge. It's like somebody's annual salary. But the truth too is that it's peanuts if you look at some of the contracts that are awarded, etc. So when I say give up the V8, you can choose to buy a private V8 out of the gifts you make, right? Until we scrap the gift law. Until then, it's law, right? It's allowed for now. So please, I think that's how we raise money. That's if only we don't have some in stock. And I'll be shocked that we don't, you see. Now, on the matter of spiritual fortifications, I agree with Awula Sewa that, look, believe in your faith. Look, one of the things I work with most of the time in life is that, how is it even said? I can't paraphrase in English. Let me do the tree one, then we'll see our brain. So he says that, right? So what
is in you is greater than what is in the world.
Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
That's it. Please repeat it.
Greater is he that is in you
okay, let me, at this moment,
that is in the world.
Yes, that's it. That's how. That's my faith, actually. That's the summary of my faith. So when you talk about juju, those things, I just laugh.
He's saying that they encounter people, illegal miners who are fortified to the teeth, and so they also need that kind of something to counter it. But before you answer that, let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi. He's a private legal practitioner and then also a former member of parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. He is one who's been lauded for that stance he took with the support of the community to fight Galamsey or illegal miners in his constituency while he was MP. Good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
And as a first contribution, you see how Martin was struggling to bring out the biblical quote. I advise you to go to church tomorrow.
Oh, but what we are doing here is church. You know what we are doing there? This is church.
Just take the advice and tomorrow start.
No, this is
because
church.
I know that is a very early terrain.
This is church.
Anyway, let's go on.
But when are you bringing the businessman?
Oh, please.
OSP wants you to bring the identity of the businessman. There's no expiring
when
crime.
we get out, I'll tell you. Okay, so now my contribution.
No, I'll come to you.
Okay.
Forgive me. Yes, you were
wrapping up.
Yeah, quickly
yes,
do that.
So yes, to counter, that's why I said to counter, we should give them the necessary accoutrement, but not go and fortify them like how they have. That's the Galamseys have fortified
So
themselves.
a military officer is watching us. His name withheld. He said they encountered an instance where they got some illegal miners in the action, and they fired bullets at them, but the bullets could not even hit them or penetrate their bodies. Ask Nana if this is not true. Nana, did you ever encounter something so where you fired at illegal miners, but the bullets just didn't have any impact on them? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. We've been battling this thing with the Forestry Commission's rapid response team, and like I do say, the field officers, the forest guards, the rapid response teams have been the real men in the arena, the unsung heroes of the fight against illegal mining. Over the period, some have been maimed, some have been injured, some have even lost their lives to the fight against the menace. There was an instance where my officers, my rapid team, and the forest guards actually went to the field and they encountered these miners. But when they came, they reported a very harrowing experience. A harrowing experience. They said, Chief, we were firing at them, but the bullets were not hitting them. And they kept coming. So can you imagine? They had a lot of bullets on them, but they kept firing till they exhausted all their bullets. So now the commander issued a directive, run for your lives. And everybody have to run in various directions just to save their lives. In the ensuing confrontation, one of my officers was shot in the tummy. Thankfully, he survived. In fact, when he was taken to hospital, about 30 or so pellets were taken from the stomach, but he was still doing very fine and still working it now. So they tell us we were shooting, but they were coming. We were shooting, but they were coming. One related another experience where he said when the people were coming, there was a man with is it a hostel Buddha, who appeared to be reciting something or praying, leading the people who were coming. The miners with spiritual fortifications who were coming. And one of my officers tells me we saw them from a distance, but they didn't know how in a split of a second they got close to them. And they managed to inflict a machete wound on one of my officers. So this is real. But like I told you, there are a lot of cases that we're able to overpower them. We don't have any fortifications. We go physically, we go with our numbers, and we're able to overpower them. And when we're able to overpower them, all we do is to first get rid of the talisman. We catch the amulet, the talisman, get rid of the rings, and they look very soft, very sober. We're able to handcuff them and bring them to the police station for investigation and further prosecution. So like I said, the real heroes, the unsung heroes of this fight against illegal mining and other illegal activities in the forest reserves have been the resource guards, the rapid response team, the range officers who are fighting daily. We don't know Saturday, we don't know Sunday, like I said today. Right after the program, I'm joining them on the phone. So like I said earlier before the network went off, we need to protect these officers. We need to retool them. In fact, when we see a group of forest guards, 40 of them, well clothed in their protective helmets, in their protective bulletproof vests, with proper weapons, not just pump action, because pump action is common. The miners also have it, but proper weapons that can go 300 meters, 400 meters. I believe our mere appearance in itself will be a deterrent. Often, if you look at the Western region, for instance, there are 18 forest reserves, very beautiful forest reserves. In fact, one of the last vestiges of the tropical rainforest of Ghana can be found in the Western region. Out of these 18 forest reserves, I can tell you 11 of them have had incidences to some degree of illegal mining. Some of them, we've given them a coloration green. Once we code them green, means these are areas that our forest guards and the normal range officers are able to deal with the menace. They've dealt with them successfully. There are areas that we graded yellow, meaning, well, the forest guards are doing their best, but they need the support of the forestry rapid response teams who are armed. There are areas that is chrome, yellow, or orange. That tells you we have a little control, but we need to go with teams of about 1 to 4 rapid response teams, and the normal rapid team comprises about 7 forest guards who are armed. So for the areas categorized as chrome, yellow, or orange, we need about 5 to 6 rapid response teams to support the forest guards to be able to work. And there are areas that we've graded red. The red areas are areas that have these guys, they are well armed, and it always has the potential to turn violent if you go into undertake any operation to raid them out of the forest reserves. And these are the areas that we need the military support, the military intervention, always to be able to root the people out. Also, let me tell you, Forestry Commission have always had the benefit of the military. Since I joined forestry, all the forest districts within the southern zone, at every given time, had about 14 to 15 military contingent attached to the district that are recycled, or let's say changed every 2 weeks. We've had that for a very long time. It was in September 2022 that government took a decision to withdraw the military from forest protection functions. And as I speak to you today, that military support for forest protection function has not been restored. Although in recent times, occasionally, we get the support of the military, as we did in the famous Abrani Crime operation in the Subi Forest Reserve. 40 military officers joined us. But immediately after the operation, they go back to the barracks, and we have to face the people. The people keep coming back, and we need to go over and over again to make sure the area is protected. So that restoration of the military support to forest protection function, especially in areas where we have challenges, areas categorized as red, where it can potentially turn violent, it can be deadly, like as my officer suffered. I think that would be a step in the right direction. But for now, the discourse should be retooling the Forest Commission, resourcing us with protective armor, resourcing us with the right ammunition, because our guys are ready, even with their machetes. If I tell you what the forest guards and the range officers are doing on the field, it's marvelous. It's a daily battle to make sure the last vestige of our tropical rainforest in the West
was withdrawn in September 2022 because then he says it was helping to help them at least do their work efficiently. Now they are going in alone and having to face all these spiritual situations. Council.
Yes, so as we stated, let's give the NIMOS team the right accoutrement, right? Including body cameras. You see, if the bulletproof vest they are going to take, etc., they should also have the body cameras so that these people who are coming, allegedly coming, even when they are being shot at, they can be filmed.
Why do you say allegedly? He's telling you what his daily experience is. That they are firing.
He wasn't present himself, so we have to say allegedly. And also, let's look at the scientific part of it. There are a lot of citizens who don't believe in this. They don't believe, they don't believe in these stories. They don't believe that. You see,
the stories of the spirituality of things.
Yes, people can have amulets and those things around them, but guns. Oh, you often hear that somebody has a lot of charms around him. A gun is fired and it goes through. So to the extent that he wasn't there, let's say allegedly. Okay. And you know, we tend to sometimes, I'm not saying he in particular, but these stories about somebody has juju, if you fire, they are often exaggerated. They are exaggerated. There are some citizens watching us who say, look, we shouldn't be giving currency to this thing that you can have juju that they fire a gun, it doesn't penetrate and all those things. If somebody has such a juju, you should come and scientifically prove it on TV for us to see. But these stories all over, let's not give so much currency to them. Now, on the military, so I would say, you see, the fixation with the military, let's reduce it. You know, I've read the Constitution many times, Article 210, etc. Then we've read the Article 200, the police. So what we need is, let's say, the more professional law enforcement agency, and that should be the Ghana Police Service. Because if we are not careful, we are just going to usurp all the functions of the Ghana Police Service. This is a law enforcement order. So the military, when you go to Article 210, as I mentioned, is basically for the defense of Ghana, external aggression, and also when we need them for some developmental projects internally. But yes, it's not law and order. These ones that were mentioned, law and order matter. Let the police do it. The police, is it the macho body types, etc., and the accoutrements? The police also have that. Have you seen the police SWAT teams? They also look very heavily built. When they are fully clad, look very imposing and create that fear. Because often when they say the military, I'm like, are they not basically the same guns, etc.? So please, let's emphasize on allowing the police to do their work. You see, in the US, there's a very fresh example. President Trump was fixated with the military. He started sending them into the states. What did the courts rule? They said, no, that's police work. It's not war. Use the military for wars. And then internal developmental projects. If you say, you see the Accra-Kumasi Expressway, let the military, the 48th Engineering Regiment, all those people, the professional, let them come and help. Then we can reduce the cost. Yes, those ones fine. But law enforcement matters. I think that we should let the police lead. The police can do it. The police can do it. Yes. So for me, that is what I want to say about military as a game. You can Google President Trump. He was stopped one time. He sent military into
But you would have those who also talk about the reality that we're faced with as a country.
Have the Ghana...
So that, is it a case that compared, you juxtapose what the police service task force that was set up, which has been, we understand, disbanded now?
Yes, now they are part of an integrated team. I understand they are in the NIMOS. They are part of NIMOS.
They operating on their own.
Oh, I would say, yes, they are part of NIMOS.
Compare that with the military as well. I mean, that's, if we come to terms with the reality we are faced with, you would understand why some advocate the military should be involved in this fight against Galamsey. That's just the reality check I want us to, even though what you are saying, yes, in the law, this is what is expected. But what does the reality say?
It's conditioning. Look, a lot of it is conditioning. You see, we've been conditioned to think that it's a military that can do it because they generally shoot to kill, etc. The trainings are different. Ghana didn't start as a state today. We've been around for a long time. And it's not only Ghana, all over the world. They've assessed these things and they say such duties internally is for the police. So that's why within the police, you have Marine Police, you have the SWAT team, etc. They have different departments within the police service. So people are trained differently for different, tasks. So the NIMOS team, the policemen who are in the NIMOS team, they are not the policemen who direct the traffic. No. You in the police service, you hear there are people in the counter-terrorism units. You know, in Ghana police, they have counter-terrorism units, etc. There are people trained for it. You see, people calling for the military a lot of the times because they don't know that the police service has specialized policemen for such duties. The police service has specialized policemen for such duties. So we would not encourage usurping the powers of the police service. No, remember when IG sent his men in, they were doing quite a good job. And then, but they said that the police didn't know which ones were the legal concessions. That was all. But they didn't say it's about capacity. So please, let's go slow on the using military. You see, because when we do that, it creates, then our state institutions will never grow. Maybe IG should also do, perhaps you should interview IGP on how the Ghana Police Service is structured and how they have counter-terrorism units and how they have policemen for such purposes. Okay, they have enough. Well, not enough. Naturally, the police service is not, we don't have the numbers, but we can recruit more. So you see that every time this topic comes out, we say, let's recruit. There are millions of graduates at home. There are millions of our young men at home who want to also come in, get jobs, and also serve their nation. So let's recruit more and then train them properly so that they can perform their functions. If otherwise, we are usurping the police powers in Article 200 of our Constitution. Let me read finally. It says that the police service shall be equipped and maintained to perform its traditional role of maintaining law and order Law and order. This is law and order.
I see.
They can do it.
Okay, I wanted to come in quickly. Doc, you will have your substantive take on it.
First of all, I want to reiterate the point that our persons not being well equipped is completely out of order. How can you be sending people to face environmental terrorists who don't even have the protective gear? I mean, this is totally unacceptable. And I think that as of today, we should start equipping them. Lots of monies are being used for things that are not necessary, but this is to protect life. And we have to deal with it straight away. And what I would also like to say is that we are in a war situation. What the environmental terrorists are doing is they are waging war against, in wartime, is known as a war crime. So I would like to say that there is a war going on. We are facing an existential threat. And if we don't hurry up and deal robustly with it, by first of all resourcing adequately those who are supposed to be fighting against this canker, then I don't know where we are going to go. We are getting to December, and it's a great shame that we have not yet come to grips with this matter, that even protective gear, they don't have it. This is totally unacceptable.
It's a serious concern there. Do you know what? Just a quick one, because I have Dr. Zato want to make. He has to make his substantive take on this particular issue. Just a quick one. Yes.
I want to associate myself with Madam's submission, calling them environmental terrorists. In fact, they are even more than that. But for want of better description, we'll take it as that. But again, I'll be very surprised to understand why men in uniform will confront this menace without proper preparation. Myself, and I want to always use my environment as an example. I faced the menace of Fulani herdsmen in my constituency, Agogo area, some time ago. And indeed, at all times that I went to the bush with the soldiers, the police, I always had my own protective gear. It is not too expensive. So I wonder why it has become an issue. Because I had the bulletproof, even with the protective, there's something that goes in that will even attract the bullets, even if they are going close to where there is no protective gear. They call it, there is iron that is even in it. And I used to wear it. And it was not too expensive. I bought it myself, except that somebody borrowed it and didn't bring it. And that person probably is listening to me. I'll write me a letter very soon. Again, when it comes to the protection of the forest, the protection of the environment, I think the local people do it better. And I have sent you a lot of videos.
But we'll show it as we go on. The locals do it better when it comes to protecting the environment.
Because they know the environment. You see, if you come to my village, I know all the places, even the sacred places I know. So those who are even afraid of spiritualism, we know how the fortification is natural, because we are citizens of the townships and districts. So I think the local people's approach has worked better for us. And indeed, come to think of even the Galamsey, in the recent past, last 2 weeks, and even before, personally I got involved. Your personal involvement as a community leader encourages the citizens to participate. In fact, some of them, even though they want to participate, they are afraid of consequences from maybe traditional leaders, and some also local community leaders. So when you yourself, you get involved, you ward off all such threats, and therefore you encourage the local people to. And we have been very successful until recently that I'm hearing. And again, the worry that I have is that there is now the emergence of what they call responsible mining programs. In fact, this time that we want to eliminate the Galamsey people, we are doing something parallel. Absolutely. By empowering people to go there and just changing names and saying responsible for. I think if we could even stop the whole of mining for some time as we prepare to retool and reprogram, it will be better. But in this particular time that we are all suffering from this menace, we are still going to inaugurate people supposedly to do something different. What happens really on the ground is that these people come and the Galamseyers take over or send them back, or the Galamseyers get empowered because of the presence of these people, and they themselves turn up to be Galamseyers. So we don't solve any problem sending, the reconscript, programmers into their constituencies and saying that they are responsible mining. You see, the small-scale miners themselves, they are overtaken by the Galamseyers in most of the communities. And maybe they find it more productive or more profitable to engage in Galamsey rather than going through the program designed for them as small-scale miners. Because of the cost implications, they opt for Galamsey activities instead of the pre-arranged small-scale mining program. So I believe that this time, if all Ghana decided that let us stop all mining,
all forms of mining,
and let us redesign and retool, and then maybe resort to better technology to maybe mine, then that would be okay. But in the same time that we are fighting the menace, we are also inaugurating people coming under different names, and I don't think that is. When I heard of the president send people to Ahafu area 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was very happy because this fight is not ordinary. So when I heard the president, and it was getting dangerous because when the military men were there and they were chased out, I said, what? How can that be? It was getting dangerous. So the response from the government was very commendable. When the president said, go and discipline them. Indeed, we have rights, but all...
He can't say that.
Listen, Martin,
it's not to discipline them. They went to arrest.
But what do you call arrest?
No.
I mean, can you arrest me?
Discipline.
Can you arrest me when I'm having done anything?
I said they are bringing
Martin, let me go. Let me go.
Don't be encouraging.
Let me go. Martin,
okay.
To be honest with you, if these people had been successful in driving away our military, we wouldn't have had a country. Trust me. This is how military, how talks take over countries. It happens in South America, it happens everywhere. If they are able to overcome state security, oh, come on, we don't have a country. So I'm happy that the president sent the people there to go and make sure there is state authority there. No. I mean, you can't have a state where there's no authority. In fact, our rights under the Constitution also come with responsibilities. You understand? Our rights come with responsibilities, and they are the checks on our rights. You can't have absolute right and say that whatever you do is within your right. How about the rights of the next person? How about the rights of the state? So we must all understand that with the enjoyment of our rights, we have responsibilities also to make sure there is equitable balance so that nobody undermines somebody's right. So I was happy. But I was also very disappointed last week when videos started coming to me of communities in my constituency, my own chiefs, saying that we endorsed the mining. I've seen how. Our community didn't know mining, and at least until the last day that I left office. And I ensured. Indeed, Minerals Commission, they invited me severally, and I appeared before them, and I told them that we were not ready for mining, that we would not agree and support any mining.
You have gold in your constituency.
Yes, we have gold.
The Forestry Commission invited you.
In fact,
and the Minerals Commission.
Minerals Commission, Forestry Commission, we didn't have a problem. The Forestry Commission problems were with
logging.
No, not the logging. The cattle, the Fulani thing. But when we solved that problem, we were confronted with requests for mining leases and things like that. And I went to the man. I told him that it will not happen in my constituency, and it didn't happen. It is not because we had a standing force. No, we ourselves as community, we didn't want it. And in fact, if you look at some of the videos I have sent to you, the community members were saying we won't take it, even though the chiefs were saying we will support it. The people say they won't take it. And in most cases, we did some of the things, although somebody would call it illegal. when we were fighting the Fulani thing, there were holes, we call them valleys, that when the military were going, the cattle would go into the valleys and the military couldn't go there because there's ingredient. On one occasion, we sounded, and indeed, I commend the military who came there. They sounded a warning, get out of here, get out of here. We are going to take action here, get out of here. All humans, take out of here. After 20, 30 minutes, they dropped the grenades and there was absolute quietness.
So,
you understand?
Grenades in the area.
Yes, and absolute quietness because of the people the cattle that were disturbing. We had to go the extra mile of elimination. In fact, the order from the court was that we have to evacuate all. Evacuation has a wide interpretation. So at that point, they had to. And that sent the warning to them that if you continue to misbehave, we have the potential to bring this. And you see, those days, I'll go back there without anything in my hand, but they were still afraid that you see what I mean? So subsequent to that, it was the threat of a possible attack that warded off the... So this Galamsey thing, if we are not careful and we allow so much of fine words, we will not solve the problem.
There has to be some
There has
drastic
to be
action.
some... That is why sometimes I don't always agree with people who call for a state of emergency. I don't always agree. Because that can also bring, other problems. People may take that state of emergency as an opportunity to attack people they have problems with. So an omnibus declaration of a state of emergency is worrisome to me. But we should also take the problem confronting us as very unnatural and therefore calls for unnatural solutions. And in that case, if we have to go beyond the expectation of the citizenry in solving problems, so should it be.
Ruthless,
but and ensure that there is a state presence that says you can do this. But when the state says you can't do this and you decide that you will do the same, it means you don't want to belong to the state.
So the state will have to deal with you.
Just a second on this. So a certain very senior person formerly in the military has read it and says he agrees that, look, we should resource the Ghana Police Service to do this work. Very, very senior, the rank of a general, but of course, I don't want to put out names. And then he refers me to the National Security Strategy, the document that came out in 2020. Even in 2020, page 33 and 34, we reiterated that we would resource the Ghana Police Service to do this. Of course, with the help of the other security agencies when it comes to intelligence and gathering evidence and the rest. But so the thing is that we are truly committed. This 1992 Constitution. But in 2021, we're writing our National Security Strategy document, which is a requirement in the Constitution. We stated at page 33 and 34 that the police would still be in charge of such law and order issues.
Okay, well, thank you. But then
that is in a normal situation.
Normal situation.
But when we are in a wartime situation like this, we don't necessarily have to resort to normals.
I see. But with this recommendation of taking not too normal approach to deal with this abnormal situation, ruthless but guided by the law.
Yes.
So as to send a strong message that, look, this existential threat is indeed one that we're confronting head on. So far, has that been done in terms of the ruthless approach to send that clear message to these legal miners?
Thank you very much, Alfred. If you, during the last election, if you voted against the NPP, because it didn't show strong political will, and then you voted for the NDC, because it showed stronger political will to fighting this Galamsey, you have been scammed. From January up to now, if you are one of those that sit on national TV or anywhere and say that this government has demonstrated strong political will to fighting Galamsey, you've been misled and you've been scammed. Everything that this government has done shows that it is only been cosmetic. And that the real commitment to do the real work, to do the real heavy lifting in the fight of Galamsey, the government has stayed away and shied away from it. And I'm going to premise my whole presentation on the concept of what? Political will. In the academic literature of political will, there are a lot of definitions given, there are a lot of concepts given. But ultimately, they come down to define political will as being comprised of two aspects. There's a normative aspect of political will, and then there's what? The empirical aspect of political will. The normative aspect of political will are the political shenanigans that we see. A law has been passed, the law has been signed, statements have been made, we've seen that. If that is what is political will, then this government is excellent. But if political will goes to the empirical aspect of political will, where when you talk about political will, you're talking about following up on the rhetoric, providing logistics, providing evidence, funding, providing time, providing what is needed to solve it. This government has been abysmal and pathetic when it comes to the Galamsey fight. Look, right now as we are speaking, during the Minister of Lands has told us that he would need about $10 billion to fight Galamsey.
Well, that story was even disputed at some point.
Good. But
you know that it was disputed.
No, I don't know. You can give me. So what is the new figure? So I'm going with the figure. It's on TV3, 3 News here, 12 October 2025.
I'm just going to read that.
Okay,
so
okay.
I should go on.
Okay. So I'm going with this because I've not seen anything there. Now, if you need $10 billion to fight this, how much of it, how much money was provided for NEMOS in this current budget? That is a measure of political will.
I see.
And if you see, it is pathetic. I think they've been giving them less than 1.5.
No, 150 million.
150 million out of $10 billion. Just do the mathematics. And then you will see. So what? Funding as a measure of political will to fight Galamsey and this government has been meager.
So this is what Park Sishan, who speaks for the ministry, said.
Okay.
That the sector minister never quoted this figure, the 10 billion.
So it means TV3 was wrong.
No, but he just clarified that.
Okay, good.
During the recent media appearance, that he explained that the reports misrepresented the minister's comments. Specifically, that indicated that they needed $10 billion to fight illegal mining. What he said was that if we were to quantify the financial implications of dealing decisively with the environmental crisis, even in the country's entire budget may not suffice.
Okay.
With that
so
figure,
he didn't provide a figure for fighting it? He didn't?
Yes.
Okay, so TV3 is wrong. Okay, well, TV3 must correct this. Okay, that's what I'm just telling you where I pick my source from.
That was clarified eventually.
I understand. Okay, so I'm saying that still, he said it, if the whole of the Ghana's budget could not support it. If the whole of Ghana's budget is sorry, we have been giving 50 million in this. That is woeful and that is mega. As a component of what? Empirical, political, what it is. 2, if today we have men and women in this budget is making arrangements to buy 2 presidential jets, luxury presidential jets. The same government that is making plans to buy 2 luxury jets cannot provide common bulletproof vests for forestry guards to protect their lives. Where lies your priorities, Mr. President, Mr. Government? There are men and women in the forest now risking their lives. Meanwhile, you have budgeted. In fact, the presidential jet has just come back from repair. We've been told that it is a mint condition as returned. You are still saying that you want to buy 2 more presidential jets. So by the time you finish, you will have 3 luxury presidential jets. Meanwhile,
where in the budget is the 2 more presidential jets captured?
We've been told that they're going to buy jets. I am saying that some of them, they said luxury jets.
I'm saying,
how many jets are they going to buy? How many jets did they say? Okay, how many jets did they say they were going to buy?
Dr. Zato, you made a statement, and I'm asking you, where in the budget is it captured that 2 presidential jets are going to be bought?
Okay, so the budget said they are going to, under the budget for the minister, the Ghana Armed Forces, the Minister of Defense, they're going to buy jets. Are they not buying the jets? Did they say they're going to buy jets?
Yes,
they are not fighting against it. For the Air Force there. Now, I'm saying that some of the jets they mentioned there are luxury jets. If not, tell me which jets they are buying, which ones is not luxury. Let me make my point. Now, you are planning to buy these jets.
Why didn't you do this last year, November, by this time?
See, Martin, I didn't say anything when I talking. So can I make my points? Can I make, please? I didn't do this. Today you are saying that you want to buy these luxury jets. Meanwhile, common forestry people do not have a bulletproof design. And you are saying me that, so where again is the political will? It's non-existent. 3, you move down to something that is very important. We were also promised by this government that when they come inside, they will arrest the kingpins behind Galamsey. We were told that if they will make sure that the big men who have the money to buy excavators, to buy these things, will be arrested. How many kingpins have been arrested so far? And it seems that kingpins has come to define Akonta Mining. Yes, Akonta Mining has been arrested. What's his name? Chairman Wontumi is facing trial fine. Is he the definition of kingpins in Ghana? Is he the only one? Where are the others? So far, how come that no other kingpins financial accounts have been frozen? So far, how come no other kingpin has been arrested? So far, how come that the people, if we're told, in fact, before the election, we told that the Frimpong Boateng report was was read like a Quran, was read like a Bible to us. Even if there were kingpins in that budget, where are they? In that document, where are they? How come we've not seen? Because look, most of these people, about 1,600 people that you say you've arrested, we know that none of those people can buy an excavator. None of those people can buy a Land Cruiser to go in. None of those people have the money to buy a lease. So the people who can buy the excavators, the people who can get the lease, the people who can buy the Land Cruisers, the people who have the money to finance to back the funding, where are they? Why are they not arrested? That is also a component of political will. And if you take that as a component of political will, again, the response has been one, pathetic and a failure. And you come down again, I've said that, look, why don't we, when the helicopter crashed and killed those patriots, we all set it up. Why don't we declare at least a 1-year complete moratorium on surface mining? Why don't we, as a memory to them? Earlier this week, one of the people who was convicted of killing Major Mahama was freed by a court. Fine, that's a court legal system. But when Major Mahama died, we said never again. They never again became, then this people died, we said never again. Name of somebody has died again, we say never again. When are we going to demonstrate the political will that when we say never again, it's true, we mean it? And so when you put all this together, the lack of funding, the lack that this idea that there's a political will to fight Galamsey today is a farce. And that is the problem. The problem lies in there. You can round out 1 million of these guys and listen, they are not fine. If you take 1 million off the street, off the side, another 1 million will come. They are young, they are youthful, they need money, and Galamsey promises them quick returns on their money. If we are really serious as a country, one of the things we must ensure is that we start at Gold Board. I've said this and I'm saying it again. Gold Board funds Galamsey because Galamsey Gold finds its way into Gold Board. I want to know. If you just let me develop then you understand what I'm saying. You made an
emphatic statement.
Yes, and I'm telling you what. Let me explain that. Funds Galamsey because Galamsey Gold finds its way into Gold Board.
Is there any evidence to that effect?
That's what he's trying to let him
explain. There is a value chain of gold under Gildo law, and we are told that one, they are licensed miners. They license. Licensed miners sell to licensed buyers. They buy. Licensed buyers sell to Gold Board. So if you look at that value chain, the value chain is saying that everything on that line is dealt by what? Licensed people. Okay. Galamseyers are not licensed. Yet they have gold. So the question is, what happens to their gold? What happens to their gold? Because
the law doesn't allow them to hold gold.
Exactly. So what did they do with their gold? That's the question I'm asking. They mean that one way or the other, the gold, they have to make money. See, when somebody is doing Galamsey, the person has invested. The person must recoup the money. If it's not lucrative, they will not buy an excavator and take it to the forest. So what happens to the illegal, let me say the Galamsey gold they get? What did they do with it? So it ends up.
Is that the evidence that you put to the argument, the statement that you make?
My theory and my hypothesis hypothesis is that that gold, that Galamsey gold, finds its way one way or the other into the gold purchased by Gold Board.
How do you know that?
So what happens to the gold? If Gold Board tells us that,
if you're asking me a question, so what happens?
Secondly, there have been a lot of academic studies. There have been a lot of academic studies that have made this. If you just Google, just Google gold funding and how gold was done, you will see that gold funding and what actually pushes Galamsey. You will see that there are a lot of couple studies that support the fact that Galamsey gold finds its way into the bloodstream or the value chain of Gold Board, and that is one of the things. So today,
you said there's a study that
there are a lot of studies.
There's a study that proves that.
A lot of studies.
Now I'm coming. Now let me ask you a question. There's a study that
a lot of studies
reveals that the Galamsey gold finds its way to Gold Board.
There are a lot of studies that demonstrate, that shows that Galamsey gold finds its way into the value chain of the gold that Gold Board buys. Yes. Because what happens?
Can you point out one study to me?
Let me finish. I'll just find a study. I'll do that. I'll do that before we close. But let me go home.
Yeah.
So the question we are now saying is that part of the high volume gold prices is what is doing this. So how then do we make sure this doesn't happen? How then do we address this problem? If we are a serious country and if there is that strong political will to fight this Galamsey, then one of the things we have to then do is to say that, wait a minute, a number of things. One, demonstrate real political will and declare a targeted state of emergency. When you have the armed forces of Ghana being chased away from a mining site by heavily built and heavily militarized people, we are reaching a state of a failed state. The theory or the literature on failed states tells you that there should be no force, no power in any country strong enough, powerful enough to scare away a military. So if you have people that were so strong that the military had to retreat because they are afraid of shooting the people, that's because those people were not waving sticks. They were not waving handkerchiefs.
Who says they were afraid? Oh, no. Please, this can't be. You are saying that. They just shows now they are very civilized. Look, you go to the US, go to the UK, there are demonstrations. You see civilians beating police. The police don't shoot. This is wrong. This is wrong.
The reason why I did not interrupt you because I don't want this to go into chaos.
Dr. Tato, I want to Nana Bosompim, who works with the military. In fact, he heads the Western Region Forestry Commission, and their task force wants to make an intervention on the point you just made.
Okay.
Nana,
okay.
Now, yes, if you can unmute and let me hear you.
I think I heard this over-reliance on the military. Let me add that there are about 288 forest reserves in Ghana, 288. And about 26 protected areas. Let us bear in mind that 9 months cannot be in these 288 forest reserves and protected areas at the same time. Like I did mention earlier, the unsung heroes of this fight against illegal mining in forest reserves have been the forest guards or the Forest Commission staff. Now, I did mention earlier that when you come to the Western Region, for instance, there are about 18 forest reserves. Of the 18, some have been categorized as green. Green means the forest guards are doing a good job by keeping the mining under control without any ammunition or so, but they're able to deal with it. We have also the yellow. The yellow means the same Forest Commission staff, the forest guards supported with the Forest Commission's own rapid response teams have been fighting to keep the mining under control. And we have the orange or the chrome yellow, where it has the potential to turn violence. And in this case, we are still using the Forest Commission staff and the rapid response teams, except that in areas that we need about 1 to 3 teams, where it is categorized as yellow, we will need about 1 to 6 teams to be able to fight off the menace. And there are areas categorized as red zones. The red zones are areas that the people are many. You can go and meet 2,000 people, they are armed, and it always has the potential to be violent. If you look at the 18 forest reserves in the Western Region, only one, Subi River Forest Reserve, the home of Abraham crime, is what it categorized as red. That has the potential to be violent, and for that matter, we will need the protection of the military to be able to undertake our constitutional mandate in protecting the forest. So there isn't anything like over-reliance on the military. If you take the 17 forest reserves in the Western Region, our officers are the ones doing it. Except that you don't see them on the screens like 9 months, except to the few pictures and videos that I shared with you. But in certain instances where the people are many and the minors have that tendency to be violent, it is only one categorized as red, where the minors are many, they are more than 1,000, they are armed with sophisticated weapons, and it always has the tendency to be violent. And for that matter, we need the protection of the military to be able to go in there to deal decisively with them for some 2-3 days. When the military retreats, the area falls back to our protection. So there's nothing like over-reliance on the military, no, but the forest staff are doing, except in few instances where it can turn violence, that we need the support of the military. So the unsung heroes of this fight against mining in the forest reserves has been the forest staff.
I see.
I wanted to clarify that.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Dr. Ato, you round up on the point you were making for me.
So,
yes.
So, in totality, the concept of political will is weak or non-existent currently when it comes to fighting Galamsey. We have refused or shied away from making the difficult and painful decisions to fight Galamsey. What are some of these decisions? How can we do? One, put a complete ban on surface mining in Ghana when it comes to Galamsey for a year. Clean out the place, try to let the earth heal before you go back. That will help. Two, freeze the accounts of all Galamsey kingpins. The people who found these things. Some of them, in fact, in some of the NIMO's videos, they go there and they see a Land Cruiser parked there. Who parked the Land Cruiser? The Land Cruiser is not parked by the guy inside the pit digging. It's parked by a big man. Take the license number of that Land Cruiser, trace to the person, the person. What was your Land Cruiser doing in the Galamsey site? That should be enough evidence for the state to do that. Now, when the state does that, it doesn't even have the power immediately to freeze accounts and this and so. Thirdly, come with a state of emergency. That state of emergency could then is targeted at forest sites. Look, we've declared state of emergencies in Ghana before, in conflict areas, we've done that. But never have I seen soldiers just go around shooting everybody to kill in any conflict area when we've declared a state of emergency. We've done it before, it's targeted. In Boku and other troubled places, we've gone and said, look, this environment is a state of emergency. We've never seen the army just going around anybody they should know. But it gives them extra powers to say that nothing must stop you from doing this. Imagine we did that to this forest. The man is here. Imagine we did that and then gave them the right rifles, the right ammunitions, the right vehicles, the gear. This will end. And that is part of the commitment we don't have. The state of emergency will do that. You can then go under the state of emergency to seize these funds and to freeze them. So that if you see that Madam's Land Cruiser is parked in the Galamsey, so I say, hey, this Land Cruiser mustn't be here. It has no business being here. And so long as it is here, under the state of emergency, it's a Galamsey. This is one. We seize that Land Cruiser, we trace the number plate to the bank account and freeze that account. You must cut off the head of the Galamsey kingpins. The head of the Galamsey kingpins is their bank account. Okay. If you freeze their funding, they will do it. And also, whilst we're also on that, demonstrate political will by telling us so far what has happened to the investigation into Joseph Yamin. What has happened to the investigation to Mr. Abanga? The man, and finally, to add injury to salt to injury or whatever that expression it is, we had a member of parliament who, we are told, incited people against soldiers who were carrying out the lawful commands of the commander-in-chief.
You know that that's been
the man went to court, and you know what he did? He was given 150,000 cedis bail. If we are saying that there is eco-terrorism, if we are saying there's environmental terrorism, if we are saying that people are dying from the water they are drinking, there is a series running down on other media never called Dear Mahama. If you listen to the painful stories of people, especially young girls who have to use such waters during those periods of the months, and then you realize that somebody who has done something like this, has it not been by the courage of the Colonel Damwa, has it not been because of the bravery and the expertise of Colonel Damwa, his men, it would have been a mayhem. Somebody is engaged in doing all these things. The man goes, the man is arrested. You say, give us 150,000 cedis and go back. Today, the privileges.
Bill. What exactly were you expecting?
The bill was too small, was too mediocre, and does not deter other people from doing it.
The person who seated by you, that's where the challenge is.
I agree. No.
The concern is
bail is not for deterrence. That to take your time.
What is bail for? So what is bail?
Bail is to make sure that the person will be tied down enough to come back to stand trial. Deterrence is after they finish the trial. After the trial, bail is not for comparison.
So
it's not for punishment.
Thank you. I wanted to make that comparative argument. There are people who have gone to court right now. They have been told to bring. Actually, listen to it. I've actually listened to people who have. There's a theory being proposed that it's one of the by these agencies or ministers that they look at the amount of work that have been done and give you. Now you are telling me that telling people to rise up against the lawful Ghana armed forces in the lawful conduct of their duty is only one.
That is if the person is actually proven to be.
The point I'm asking is that will you see how much?
Relax.
I'm relaxing because you are saying this is my relaxation. You know that.
You are mixing them.
Of course, I'm mixing them to make a point. The point I'm making is this. When it comes to certain people's, certain ideas, you realize that the bail conditions are not even a case glove on the hand to go. Meanwhile, when it comes to some people, the bail conditions in this country by our coercive forces are a punishment in of themselves. So we are seeing the weaponization of bail services in Ghana to punish political opponents and reward political friends.
Okay, because finally,
why is Parliament a privileged committee?
Yes.
Why hasn't the Parliament
okay, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Me.
Yes.
Okay. You see, so even before we come to Table number 2 versus Attorney General number 2, the starting point is the Section 96 of Act 30, what we call the Criminal and Other Offences Proceedings. A part of this says that the court will set bail, having regard to the facts and the circumstances of the case, right? So that is it, because the law cannot set out everything. But of course, in recent times, Domlevo is saying we should reform the law, and I agree with him to be clearer that maybe for the misdemeanors, we shouldn't be asking for sureties, etc. Because even for a misdemeanor, a judge can set some very hard conditions. It will take you another 1 month before you come out, right? Yeah, Domlevo is being on it, and we should give currency to reform the bail law. But as it stands now, the discretion is not circumscribed. So the judge looks at the situation and sets the condition. Table number 2 comes in to the extent that now every offense is bailable. Because before table number 2, there are about 12 offenses: rape, narcotics, defilement, treason, murder, etc., escape from lawful custody, piracy. There are 12. Or let's say there were 12, whichever one. So for those ones, judges were not given a discretion to grant bail at all. So the effect of table number 2 was to say that the law that said that this list of 12 cases you cannot grant bail at all is unconstitutional, but rather the court has the jurisdiction to grant bail based on its discretion. So the judge will assess the accused person's ties. So now let's go to the next point. Assuming you appear before a judge, maybe there's evidence that the person, whichever officer, whether public officer or a contractor, has taken, let's say, 100 million Ghana cedis. Let's say a contractor has been paid 100 million Ghana cedis. Clear. There's a check for 100 and no work done. Sorry?
Alleged.
Oh, okay.
Point,
since this one we've not mentioned anybody's name, we can, even if we don't use alleged.
No, but at that point, there is no conviction. So everything that you call the court is an allegation.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So at that point, if it's clear that 100 million cedis entered the hands of that contractor, and it's also clear that no work was done, a judge in setting bail will be aiming at the 100 million cedis straight. But if, let's say, 100 million was paid to him, and then you see that he did some work up to some extent, If his lawyers come and marshal arguments to show that this work done is about 60%, 70% of the 100 million. So if let's say 60% of the 100 million, meaning that it's 40 million that he's yet to account for.
Okay.
So the bail will be less. So it's about the efforts of the lawyer, the industry, and also about the facts. So if no work is done, the judge will go for the original sum. But if work is done, okay, or and even some equipment were bought, the contractor comes to court and say, I bought 16 excavators. It means that they will take hold of those and set the bail lower. That is what it means by looking at the facts and the circumstances. So it's not as if anybody just sets any bail anyhow. No.
Okay. Thank you. Today, you see, I'm not tackling you. I'm not interfering you. But I want to just make a point. Let me respond to that bail condition. No, it's important, please. Look,
you ended, so make it short.
Aduboah Hene and wife were given 300 million bail with sureties. Hanan and wife 150 million. Give to Owari 10 million. Osei Asibe 800 million. Chairman Wintumi 10 million. Honor Beniza Akuf Addo and whatever 100 now that's this guy 150 million. Look, what is the value you put on human life? We are saying that there's eco-terrorism. This man was preventing and trying to facilitate people to engage in eco-terrorism.
That's what he's alleged to have done, which
alleged, yes, all this
denied.
was alleged. So if you see, and this is the point I'm making, this is the point I'm making. For all these other people who are members of the other party, their bail conditions are in the tens of millions of cedis. For this guy alone, his bail is 150,000 cedis. The question I'm asking is, how is 150,000 cedis a deterrent to a Galamsey campaign?
So that clarity that Martin Bebu brought hasn't really sat
well. Mr. So one sentence, just one sentence. What the person, that Galamsey person, what specifically is he alleged to have done?
Precisely.
Challenge the authority of the state.
Of the state.
So that goes.
Gentlemen, hold on.
Kenyan John said that he feared for his life. He only survived by the mercy of God.
Hold on.
What value do you put on his life?
Hold on. Nana, you wanted to come in quickly on this because I will ask a while will have to leave us. But you talked about the compliments that you have from the military in your work. Now, how has the withdrawal of the military in any way affected your work as a task force clamping down on illegal mining?
Yes, thank you so much again, Alfred. Like I did say earlier, there are a lot of forest reserves in Ghana, 288. Only a few have been categorized as red zones. In fact, red zones means you may have miners more than 2,000, sometimes upward of 5,000, well-armed, sophisticated, and they have that tendency to be violent. If you take Western region, if I put my entire forest staff in the Western region, we will not even number up to 200. So just imagine bringing the entire Western region, going to a forest reserve where you may have an upward of 2,000, 3,000, up to 5,000 illegal miners with their own security well armed. That would be a strategy dead on arrival. So in such circumstances, we need the complement of the military. And then when they come, it's not that we need the military alone to go in there and flag them out. We go with them, we lead the operation, we direct, except that the military also comes with sophisticated weapon, a lot of men, to make sure the forestry officers are protected to discharge their mandate. So, like I did say earlier, we've had the military support for a long time. It was in only 2022 that they were withdrawn. So that interregnum in military support, they realized that now forestry officers are unarmed, unprotected, and they are on their own. And that would definitely embolden the miner to take on forestry officers. Like I did say earlier, there are some areas when they see forestry officers, they run away. They run in all directions. But some areas, when they see a vehicle approaching, you see them muscular, well-built, standing there waiting for you. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I went to a community called Wasasaman that abuts the Subri Forest Reserve. We had miners have invaded the area. We were going to conduct an operation. We had a rapid response team with us. We got there and we saw the heavily built, so-called spiritually fortified men, a lot of people in there. Just the sight of them, I had to order my officers to withdraw. Because if they go in there, I will surely put their lives in harm's way. It is in such instances that we need the support of the military to be able to flush out the miners. But I did say it will not be an over-reliance on the military. Because if you look at the period between 2022 to 2026, where mining and forest reserves were at its very zenith, we had no even the military support. All the hundreds of excavators that we immobilized, it was done solely with the Forestry Commission staff and the Forestry Commission's own internal rapid response team. But there are some areas that we categorize as red zones, like you see in the Nkaria Forest District, where people are armed, people are shot, people are injured, like we see in part of a burning area where my officers always come and attack. These are the areas that we need the support to flush them out. And it's not like a one-man support. Sometimes just 2 or 3 day operation is enough to deal with the people and make sure you continue to patrol and secure the area and make sure the people never go. Take a case of a burning crime. The famous representation of ECOWAS within the Subri River Forest Reserve. The operation was conducted somewhere early March. To date, that slum has never been rebuilt because of constant monitoring, surveillance, and patrol by our officers. But like we did say, it has come to a time where our officers need to be prepared. They need to be well armed. They need to be protected. We are ready to work. I admire them. I celebrate them all the time. Like I said, there are no Saturdays, there are no Sundays. They keep working. All we need from the state is to retool us, give us the weapons, give us the protective clothing, give us the armors, the bulletproof helmets and the armors, and we can go there and fight without let up until the last vestige of illegal mining is rid out from our forest reserves.
Quite a number of the messages coming through, and then we'll read them. Someone within the military says, you don't lead an operation when the military is involved. Once you invite the armed forces, it means that the situation is over your control, so the armed forces will take over. Right? That's somebody also high up in the military who also sent me this. That clarifies a point that you were making earlier.
Yes, let's just train our police. Let's do it that
this
way.
One also, well, Professor Stephen Kweku-Asare, good morning to you. Professor Kweku-Asare is watching us right now. He says, good morning, Alfred. Ask Martin Kpebu if he thinks our laws are meaningful. His human rights position is misplaced sometimes. He should be more practical than theoretical. Apia Kubi is making a lot of sense with his proposal that we have to be ruthless, guided by the law. We are grateful to him with his example in his constituency. Martin's position can't take us anywhere. That's Professor Stephen Kweku-Asare.
Vigilante, let's remember, we killed Major Mahama. Vigilantes, go in there and spray them. You'll find out that it's your brother who will be killed. You will come back here and cry.
A very strong role. We cannot say it's environmental terrorism and say don't involve the military. We have done that. Look, I go for those send military in. We are sending the military must go in.
When did you solve it?
Gentlemen, thank you.
When the military was said, did they solve it? So it's not about military or
Operation Vanguard had its own.
They were taking money. The military were there taking money. They went and joined the
Thank you very much.
You have evidence for that. No, you have evidence for that.
But the evidence is our
that the Ghana forces were taking money.
Your microphones are off.
It's a wash here. Check online.
Ola, I want to hear you quickly on this one.
What I would say is that all the forestry men who have been injured and all those who are fighting illegal mining who are being injured, I hope that there are systems in place to take care of their families and those who have been injured to take care of their medical bills and to see to it that they don't suffer from protecting Ghana. But I want to just end by saying that we are facing an existential threat. We can't afford to joke. We are facing an existential threat. We are being poisoned. There's environmental terrorism going on. So we need to see the political will to deal with it. And an aspect of the political will is properly resourcing those who are fighting against it. And I have to put on record that we cannot alienate communities. So, for example, in Atronsu, it's a travesty that the community activists who are fighting to protect the environment are rather the ones facing criminal charges. And then we have the elders who are trying to protect the Draw River Forest Reserve, who are being intimidated. So what I want to end by saying is that if we really are interested, if we really want to end environmental terrorism, then we have to work hand in hand with the communities that are doing their best to fight it. And then we must also have key performance indicators. So if there's illegal mining going on, we need to find out what is the political authority doing? What are the chiefs doing? What is the police doing? If we can't find out what they are doing, they're unable to deal with, then maybe other persons may need to replace them. And maybe end by saying that in Gemma, for instance, because of the visionary chief they have, and because of Jaga and Father JB, Father Joseph Blay, there's no meaningful illegal mining going there because the chief has put his life on the line. The community have said, we don't want this poison. We want to do cooperative farming not mining. Because whether you call it cooperative mining or community mining, if you don't ensure that the proper thing is being done, we still end up with what? Irresponsible mining. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Now, Honorable Apiakobi,
no.
Professor Stephen Kwaku Asare sent a message referencing a point you made earlier about the path to take in this fight. Yeah, that's a clear departure from what Matupebu was saying earlier. But
that's correct.
That's the way to go, in his view.
Yes. And again, I will want to re-emphasize that by saying that what we have done and been successful in the past, let us continue to develop it or use it. In my constituency, we have used the local people to fight, and we have been successful until recently. And I want to reassure the youth of Amantanamai and Owerri that I'm still available. I will work with them and I will support them. If there are any problems, I'm prepared to support them. That community protection has worked up till now, except that somebody will say that I am no more a member of parliament. Yes, that is a fact. But I am also the environmental crusader that I was before. And indeed, I am a member of the community, so I'll always be in support of any initiative that will fight against the illegal mining. And lastly, in my community, we don't do mining. We have tried to ward off any attempt of the Galamseyers to come. Some of the chiefs I know have been complicit in this new effort. Let the youth stand up against them. Let me on this occasion commend Nana Aguguhine. On one occasion, he called me that there is, to his knowledge, ongoing illegal mining. I should make sure that it doesn't happen. And indeed, we went there, we arrested them, we made sure that it didn't happen. Nana Kwaku Sapong, on this morning, I salute you for your direction and your support. I want to believe that other chiefs, if they follow his example, I'm sure we will be able to fight this menace. Not chiefs who are complicit because of their personal interest. And in my particular situation, in my community, Amantanamai, I saw one particular chief saying that he is all for it, and therefore he will do everything in his power. Fortunately, the people's power is greater than the individual power. So let the people's power speak for them, and let them be assured that I will always be in support of the fight against Galamsey. I thank you very much, and I commend the youth who have done yeoman's job and who has been inspiration to all of us to also come in their support. I am at a loss why we have not also highlighted this community approach. I'm at a loss.
Approach to the fight against Galamsey.
Against Galamsey. At least you know that at least we were successful up till December 7th of 2025. So if we continue to do what we were doing, I'm sure we will achieve greater levels of success. So let the authorities also investigate the underlying spirit that supports this community initiative. That is very low on cost and also very safe and very enduring and very sustainable. Because we were able to sustain it over the 8 years, notwithstanding the pressure from even the Minerals Committee and the attempted inducement which didn't work. So I'm sure that that is the legitimate way to go. Let the local people also protect what is theirs and their forests and their lands. So, Alfred, I think that you will take up this mantle and advocate this community support. Even the forestry people, when they come, they still need the communities to support them, because when they come in the afternoon, they'll go and sleep. Some of these activities occur in the night, but the local people are always there. If they are so empowered to ward off these encroachers, then they will be sure that even when they are sleeping, there are people watching over for them.
I have quite a number of people. You referenced, some suggestions by some persons within the military, and also receiving a number of messages from persons who are also serving in various capacities within the military. This one here says, kindly tell people that Galamsey fight is no more law and order. It has to be seen as a war. He should go back in history and read about the Sierra Leone civil wars, how it all started. If as a country we are going to follow Law Martin Kpebu's stance, then we will be surprised at the outcome in the long term. The tactics they are now using is from operations in jungle tactics, booby traps,
Booby
a lot
traps.
of booby traps. Yes, I think it's the spelling.
Okay.
A lot of the military officers follow Key Point, but unfortunately we are unable to contribute on your platform for obvious reasons. People, okay. All right.
The reasons are not obvious.
So,
as she says.
Mr. Kansi, maybe we should clarify this.
Is that when
Should we
people are
have-
bold enough to confront state authority, then you must watch it.
Yes. Very good. Look, let's stop
everything
this
in
one.
Ghana
Give
is
it
going
2
to
minutes.
be analyzed with a political lens,
Look.
like what Dr. Zato did. Then we are far from getting it right. You
Mr.
see.
Kansi, let's give just 1 minute on this.
I also
Look,
get
I
1
think,
minute on
yes,
that.
look.
I'll run
I
it, 'cause you have
think
a
we
question
shouldn't,
for you.
Ghana is not the only country in this world. Look, let's be very blunt. You think the citizens see you have arms and the rest. This thing you are saying, look, just even go online, Google demonstrations in the UK, US, UK. Look, immigration crisis recently ongoing. You see citizens pushing police, and then the police just also push back gently. The police have arms, so they don't shoot. What is this same fixation that because the military walked out quietly, that means the state has collapsed? Has the US collapsed? Has the UK collapsed? What is this just about shoot, just because you have guns? That's not how countries are run. You don't understand it. Look, go on the net, read why, then you see that you have the police power. The person gauges, they gauge the level of threat before they deploy. So if you see in that video, the Hwidiam one, the imam, the Muslim cleric arranged that, okay, the police should, and the military should go. The military had their guns, but they know that, oh, it's a democracy, due process. We'll not just pray this. We should rather commend them and not say that that means that the state has failed. It has failed. Why? Why? So has the UK failed? Just Google. You see demonstrations. You see how citizens barefaced. It's not even like they are wearing masks. Pushing at police. Pushing. Then the police push back. Then push. Then police push back. Push. Then the police. Then sometimes when it gets too much, then the police add a bit of force, push more than the citizens can push. Then they disperse and go. So please.
I'll come to you. Don't
the
worry.
circumstances vary. Let's not encourage this thing. We came from that state where we're saying soldiers should be. Look, soldiers went to Ashaman how many years ago? Went and made our citizens drink poison. Our military went and poisoned fellow citizens in Ashaman. Has it stopped all the offenses in Ghana? Why this vigilante mentality? Soldiers went and poisoned fellow citizens.
So are you,
poisoned
so
them.
in effect,
Has it,
you take a point of
JJ killed
departure
citizens.
from-
JJ, look,
from-
firing
from-
squad. They
from
killed and
this-
killed citizens 79. What is this?
I don't want to
So you
disturb
see,
What is this?
I'll come to you. Don't worry.
I don't want to interrupt him. No,
I'll come to you, Dr.
What
I'll
is
come to
this?
you.
Okay.
What
Okay,
is this
okay,
fixation
okay,
with
okay,
military arms?
okay.
JJ came, they killed citizens. Look, Africa, all military generals, they say corruption, line them up, kill them. JJ himself, Rawlings, at the end, they didn't he take money from Abacha? Stop this holier than thou thing. You think if you just kill everybody and then take the country?
Let me introduce Mam Hesse, Christian Mam Hesse is also joining us. I will ask a while to take leave of us, attending to an equally urgent matter. But you know about the Apiakobi. This, you see, there's a guidance. There's a substantive question. I'll come to you because you will have all the time you need. Let me assure you, right on the cameras, you will have all your time you need to respond to the issues that Law Martin Kpebu has raised. But you see, the ruthless approach because of the existential threat we're faced with, in what form should it come? If, you know, because yes, Law Martin Kpebu, I hear the sound of underscoring the fact that this is urgent. It's an existential threat. The approach to dealing with it is where there's a point of departure, isn't it? That shouldn't be the military going in ruthlessly.
Indeed,
and seeing it as a war.
I want to cite the same example. When it happened in the Ahafo region, President sent some military men to go and ensure that the state presence was felt. And indeed, we haven't heard of any casualties following the president's direction. And this is a solution that I presume has solved the problem at the time. Because after the military had left, and indeed when they were even leaving, they were afraid of which route to take. If you listen to some of the military men on duty today, they were even afraid of where to take because they were afraid of attacks by the same Galamseyers. And on one occasion, I think one of them was trying to avoid confrontation with some of the Galamseyers and therefore was engaged in an accident that even claimed a life, an innocent life. So it is not the case that it was a normal situation that the police will go there. There are policemen, and indeed it happened at the police station. The confrontation happened at the police station. And this one, my pain is that people like that who initiated and supported and encouraged this confrontation with the state were given lesser conditions of sale of bail, which Martin is trying to discuss. But I think that the circumstance is graver as you look at this one than people who are alleged to have committed a crime, facts of which, evidence of which was not available at the time. So this one, the people were challenging the presence of the state, say notwithstanding the presence of the military, the police, and it happened at the police station. So where else can we feel the presence of the state better than a police station, with also a whole contingent of military and police in a program being there? So
in what form should the ruthlessness take if you say that?
The president sent the men there. The president makes sure that the men went to Ahafo. Ahafo has been quiet. And in fact, the perception of the challenge on the state's presence has quelled. And indeed, since that time, I haven't seen anybody say that we will go and fight the anti-Galamsey group, the NIMO, or even the military. Okay. So that has solved the problem. If the president had slept on that, we would have thought that the state had been defeated in that circumstance. And therefore, the feeling in the heads of other wrongdoers that we can defeat the state. And that is what Doc was referring to. It is the beginning of the decay. And the consequences of such decay will be a failed state. And I perfectly agree with him. But again, I am not saying that we should over-rely on the military and in matters within the state. No. And I started by saying that we don't have a normal situation. So unnatural situations require unnatural solutions. And that is why I was making those recommendations that the presence of the state must be seen at all times, and all members of the state must respect the presence of the state, notwithstanding how right you think you are, until proven you have to respect the presence of the state. And I believe that one very good example was to have shown these people that no, particularly even community leaders, show them that you cannot stand in confrontation with the state that gives us all the protection. So, and I side with Doc when he says that the bail conditions were, unusually limited.
In fact, on that same part, Daryl Bosu, who is the Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana Environmental NGO, says, "Good morning, Alfred, and to your esteemed panelists. The point of the state supporting communities as a matter of priority cannot be overstated. The state must start protecting community defenders. We cannot always wait for NIMOS and water guards before communities are taken seriously." That's a question from Dr. Kwame Asante. Says, "I want to find out from Lawyer Martin Bibu, with the evidence of what NIMOS is doing, Blue Water Guards, EPA, and IGP Task Force all together, with all what is going on, it doesn't appear to deter people engaged in illegal mining from stopping. Why?"
Yes.
Bibu, this is to you.
I have a prize for those who protected it. Let me just announce my prize. And my colleagues who are from Asante Achim North, and particularly from Amantama, and in particular the people that I see in the video, I make a personal contribution of 10,000 Ghana cedis for them to collect anytime from today.
I see. Okay. So there's a video which we're going to play. So they said these persons in this video, you're giving them 10,000 cedis.
10,000 cedis.
Right. As a way of motivating them.
Yes.
to get involved, the community
Yes.
get involved in the fight against Galamsey.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you.
a reward
Alfred,
from...
Martin, I said, you say we're going to come to me.
Yeah, there's a text that requires my answer. You see, you're even making it distracted. I forgot. What's the question? He said, why didn't those things succeed? The simple answer is that we didn't have enough men to position them there. So you see now, NIMOS is an extra force, and they say they are even going to ramp up the numbers. So when you ratchet up the numbers, then you have a permanent task force. You remember that's a game changer. You remember we had this debate before. Ken Ashibe used to say, no, just send military, go and deal with them and go away. Then the president and his cabinet, with all the expertise, the expert advice they got, they agreed with us that no, rather put a permanent presence there. So when they know that this forest, there are NIMOS and forest guards here, they won't come. They won't come. That's number one. Then number two, Honorable Pierre Kubi, the Sierra Leone example you gave, that was an insurrection. Oh. It's an insurrection. Let's not rewrite history in a different way. It's an insurrection that engulfed the whole country. It's not like the case of illegal money here. And those of you saying it is war, please. War, when you say war, it's a technical word. I beg you. We all want to fight it. But sometimes when you come and then we talk too emotionally, we'll lose the focus. Right now we have NIMOS. Let's be scientific. Scientific. What we should be saying is that ramp up the numbers for NIMOS, do the resources, have media embedded with the team.
Something that Martin
just come, it's a war. It's a war. Do you know what is war?
There's something that Martin is doing this morning. He's trying to whitewash what happened in Hafu, and that is completely disingenuous. We are trying to. No, I'm being honest here. Look, this is survived by the mercy of God.
And I think we just moved on that point.
No. Do you know what is war?
Hold on, gentlemen. Hold on. I think we moved on that point. What I was asking specifically about is the extent of the involvement of the military. At this point, we've moved on to it. So, if I ask the question about if we're dealing with this ruthlessly, in what form should the ruthless approach be?
So, simple answer.
That's all.
So, let me give my answer. Yes. Good. It should be targeted state of emergency in these areas. And in these areas, the soldiers should be given the right to shoot and kill to any man or any woman who raises a rifle or a gun at them. They should be given the right to shoot and kill under those state of emergency. Because if you are innocent, why are you carrying a gun in the forest? If you are not an agent of the state, why are you also carrying a gun in the forest? You will say you are a hunter. Soldiers, no hunters. Soldiers, no hunters. So no soldier will see a hunter. Listen, these are some of the Ghanaian soldiers are some of the best trained soldiers in the world. The UN has confirmed that in all their peacekeeping missions. We have an officer here. This officer is in the forest. He knows hunters. He will not see a hunter going to shoot hand and shoot the person. But if they also see an enemy, the enemy, look. He's a father. He's a son. He has children. You want him to go inside there with a vest, even the common vest, and then somebody will shoot and kill him. Look, somebody just died in the line of duty. Now maybe they are widows and their children orphans there. You want them to go there and make this. We have been told again and again. There was a report that says that. There's a report that says that when they were going to one of the mining sites, it took strongly built men in army to literally make them retreat. That is apart from the Hafoteng, or is it the same place? And you are now telling us that we should walk inside there with six. And look, even in the United States, so police have shot protesters and killed protesters in the United States.
It doesn't make it
and
right.
They do good, but you shouldn't make it look like when you are protesting in the United States, it's just a walk in the park. No, police are doing it and they are still doing it. They have shot and killed protesters in the United States, and Black Lives Matter protesters have been shot and killed in the United States. It has happened. So I want us to make the point. Don't whitewash what happened and what is happening. The men there know what they are doing. They are fully armed, they have weapons, and they are putting the lives of agents of the state, honorable, patriotic men whose duty it is to go and work and come back. They are putting their lives at stake. Okay. We must meet fire with fire. And I am all for the fact that if you give them the power, give them the limited state of emergency, if I see you in the forest and you are raising a rifle at me, I shouldn't wait for you to shoot me first.
Thank you.
I should shoot you before you shoot me. All right. I believe in that. Shoot to kill.
So there's quite a number of questions directed at Lamati. But one wants to find out if the military in this NIMOS, for instance, find themselves in the line of danger, what should be their response?
It's it's simple. The law allows that if you say danger, so you see that the other person is about to shoot you, you have the right to shoot him before he shoots.
Okay.
That's not what you see. We keep changing the post. What we are talking about is that the level of threat so far has the Ghana Police Service said this is beyond them. They haven't said so. So that's all that we are saying.
All right. Thank you.
They haven't said so.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can do it while you are sending the army.
It's your fixation. Your fixation with military.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. This one here says, and your microphones are off, says, please kindly ask the NIMOS team to take Martin Pebu on one of their operations so that we can all understand this. But there's, I'm going to go for a quick break. But before that, gentlemen, before that, hold on. Dr. Zato, I'm giving you all the time you need. You indicated that you had a study that shows that Gold Board is benefiting from the gold of Galamsey operations. Have you found that study?
I've not gone to the studies that are there. I can send them to you after later on. You can show them.
I want to see it now. So
you
that
want to see
I
it now?
can read it
I'm
to
not
our
searching it now,
viewers.
but I want to use the time to do something.
Have you found it?
No, I've not started. I've not even started.
Okay.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Although we know there's much to be, we will move mountains long before we knew we could.
We're waiting for you come. They're started, so yeah. It's either you are paying or someone takes the seat. Don't worry.
On stage vibing. Godwin is also vibing with the contestants. But we'll see you dancing to. Yes, we'll see you dancing to. Maybe you can shout out as Godwin and the contestants. So Godwin will respond and then he'll start his line. You know Godwin start.
That goes beyond headlines. The MG monthly dialogues on lifestyle audits, reimagining public service ethics, join leading voices in governance and accountability. Dr. David Ofosu-Dotte, renowned governance and legal reform advocate, Daniel Yahudumlevo, former Auditor General of Ghana, and lawyer Martin Pebu, with a keynote address by Mr. Joseph Wheatle, Commissioner of the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice. It's happening Monday, 24th November 2025 at the Executive Theatre, TV3 premises, Kanda, Accra. Brought to you by Media General, TV3, 3FM, and 3news.com. MG Monthly Dialogues. Integrity is not declared, it's verified.
No for them sell out, but them sell out. The Africans' drums beat. They don't beat for the money it brings, they beat for the respect, for the honor, and the pride. Join us on the African Night as the contestants perform songs from across the continent.
It's all I ever had. Redemption song.
Don't miss the music, the culture, the inspiration, and the rich diversity of Africa, who will connect with the heart of the judges and who will truly inspire a continent. The Sunday at 8 p.m. only on TV3. Audience must be seated by 7:30 p.m. This is Mentor, the Breakout Edition.
Powered by Shaltox Lozenges.
Brought to you.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com, on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, and Voice of London Television as well. And let me discharge Nana Bosompim, who is the Western Regional Manager of the Forestry Commission. Nana, thank you very much for spending this morning with us. I know you had to be on an operation, but you also decided to spend some time with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Nana Bosompim there. I see a number of your messages. I'll read them, I promise you, on this Galamsey matter, which we are rounding up on. We need to move on to the next issue. But before that, the management of TV3 noted with concern, as many of you, our cherished viewers and Ghanaians, also did see a video circulating on social media of personal exchanges between two of our guests last week, recorded inside this studio during a production break We were on a commercial break when this video was taken. Immediately upon becoming aware of the video, management engaged all persons and the guests who were exposed in the said video or captured in the said video to address their concerns and provide assurance on management's commitment to their safety, as well as strict handling of this particular incident that occurred last week. Indeed, the management of TV3 is fully committed to ensuring peace between the respected persons involved. These are our two guests last week. We're glad that in the spirit of humility, mutual respect, and brotherliness of our esteemed academic scholars, they have reconciled their differences and have also committed to repairing the relationship and whatever occurred that might not have been in good taste, as you have seen. I have the two gentlemen, our esteemed academics, and our guests who were with us last week. They are with us in the studio this morning. And we're grateful to you, Dr. George Domfe, and then also to you, Professor Ransford Jampo, for this gesture. Before I bring them in, I'd like to emphasize, as indicated by management earlier this week in that statement we put out, this unauthorized recording by an individual's phone and subsequent distribution is a breach of TV3's editorial and studio production protocols. And so management commenced full investigations in collaboration with relevant security agencies in this country. That's how serious we take this matter. We have taken appropriate deterrent sanctions, legal and protocol enhancements to prevent the recurrence of this issue. Media Journal remains committed to the highest standards of professionalism, open to divergent views, as you have seen, ethical journalism, and content integrity. That I want us all to bear in mind. Back to my gentlemen and our esteemed academics who have joined us in the studio, Professor Ransford Jampo and Dr. George Domfe. We're grateful, gentlemen. Thank you so much for indeed making the time to be with us.
Anything to add us? Remarks.
Yes. No.
To my shippers.
This is why we move. Let's we move.
You are fond of heckling.
No, we move. Perfect. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'll start off with you, Prof. Ransford Jampo. Just a few words on this, and then I'll go on to Dr. George Domfe.
Oh no, I think that
in a few seconds, just something short.
My shippers.
No, not your shippers.
Oh, okay. Dr. Domfe is here. He's my senior brother, and we've been together as university teachers. And I think last week what happened, I don't think it was the best, and a lot of things went on, and I'm sure he may have been provoked. So I want to first of all tell him that if he felt provoked in any way by my analysis, I regret it and apologize to him, and of course to all others who may have been affected. I think it was not a good spectacle as academics, and I'm not proud about that. So I think we have reached out to each other. We've spoken extensively, and I'm happy he's here. Let's move on. And so, Papa, apologies to you.
Thank you so much. Dr. George Domfe, please.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And let me also say
just as my brother has said, it wasn't good. Not at all. It really affected me for almost 3 days. Eating was a problem. My wife is here with me, and it was really bad because even though it was not meant for public, but somebody got it out, and whatever that happened, it was me, and it was Prof. So my sincerest apologies. We need not to do this again, and not even when either we are on live or whatever that happens. I don't think it really went on well. But let me take this opportunity as well to say a few things to my church, because since the whole thing started, my church, Methodist Church Ghana, has been at the center, and if anything had happened, they were behind it. So I would like to also take this opportunity to apologize to the presiding bishop and the entire leadership of the church, my diocese, Northern Accra Diocese, Right Reverend, the Bishop of the Northern Accra Diocese, Right Reverend Andrew Bedi, and especially the chair, the lay chair, Dr. Senor Ajay. He will call me every now and then, morning, evening, and he's been so wonderful. I also want to mention my Superintendent Minister at the Airport East, and all other people. One particular individual that I cannot forget about is Bishop Osabuti, Right Reverend Osabuti. Excellent human being. He's always, even this morning, he sent a message. I promise to walk in the ways of Christ. I'm a Christian. I forgive everybody. Please find it in your heart to also forgive me if anything happened that you didn't like. All the people that I've mentioned, my university, and everybody, my co-workers, everybody. I'm University of Ghana. We are very sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
from
we are
the
very
alumni,
sorry.
we forgive them. Let it not happen again. And both of them are my junior brothers in the university, and alumni is here represented. Let it not happen again. You will face sanctions if you do.
Okay, gentlemen, I thank you very much. Thank you so much for this. And we also give you that highest of assurance that indeed all the protocols have been put in place. Sure, this will never happen again. Now, you're still live here on Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world on 3news.com. There's an exclusive holiday tour of Dubai coming up. And I tell you what, the two gentlemen maybe would be benefiting from this.
You say you give me one.
But
Martin,
let me tell you this. This is from Ocean Bells Travel.
I'm part of those who want the package. Last week you say you give us.
Yours is to Maha Beach Resort.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I have to still talk to your bosses. I also want the big one too. Martin, maybe we should do something.
The Ocean Bells Travels and Tours, affordable tickets onto this exclusive holiday tour to Dubai between the 23rd and the 27th of December. 4 nights of unforgettable celebrations, return transfers from Dubai International Airport, desert safari with barbecue dinner, and live entertainment on sharing transfer, half-day Dubai City tour on sharing transfer, Marina Do cruise with buffet dinner and live entertainment on sharing transfer as well. I'm talking about Ocean Bells Travel and Tours. When you call them, tell them that you heard us talk about it on Key Point, and every ticket you buy to any destination, you get a 10% discount. They have partnerships with Emirates, Qatar Airlines, Brussels, Turkish Airlines, Ethiopia Airlines, Askai, Egypt, TAP, Portugal, South Africa Airways, Kenya Airways, Royal Air Maroc, Africa World Airlines, Air Peace Airlines as well. Call them on these numbers: 059 397 2767, 059 397 2767, and also 0242 037 280. 0242 037 280. That's Ocean Bells Travels and Tours. And also for the Maha Beach Resort, which Dr. Zato is just reminding me about. That's an exclusive Christmas tour.
Your matter no day inside. This is between me and Alfred and Dimitri. Even if you want everything
you want some.
Yeah, of course. I want good things. Yeah, good things. I want good things. Some.
So my submission is disqualify all those who are seeking on-end positions.
Thank you. Senior, like, this one is end. He promised us last week. Ask him. He did. He promised. This one is end.
Okay. Because I'm a senior, I think I'm the better.
Indeed.
Senior, you two,
let's celebrate this Christmas holidays like never before. Book 2 nights and get the third night free with meals exclusive starting from 4,500. I'm talking about the Maha Beach Resort early bird discount. Book and pay before the 31st of this month and enjoy 20% extra discount all on us here on Key Point. That's Maha Beach Resort. 0540 124 114 0540 124 114 for some more details. And if you see this on the table, it's because it's coming from the University of Ghana. There's a lot to talk about this morning with the University of Ghana. Yes. Yeah, so it's your water.
Yes. All students of the only University of Ghana, please take this one.
Yes. UGL Premier Fresh Natural Mineral Water. Yes.
The only university
of Ghana.
In Ghana.
The only university of Ghana.
It refreshes, it hydrates, and it helps you thrive in these hot weather within this period. It comes in 3 main forms: the 500 ml, the dispenser jars, where you can find it. Locate them, the depot at the Liman Hall, University of Ghana, Legon. Call them on 0561 814440, 0561 814440 for some more details. Now, Dr. Domfe is going to be taking leave of us in a bit, but Professor Anso Jampo, just a quick one.
I have not...
greetings, yes.
I have not greeted. You know, these are preliminary things that must always be done. Martin, what have you done today? Who did you greet?
Dr.
So, I want to greet all our shippers and shipping service providers and then also shipping lines. Our attention was drawn to some shipping service providers not respecting the BOG directive on the exchange rate that could be used. And while we have written to all affected, it's important that shippers always are specific in their complaints to us, so that we don't. It doesn't create an impression that all shipping lines are flouting the rules or directives of the Bank of Ghana. I also want to say that VAT on transit goods. I don't know whether you've heard it, but VAT on transit goods has been abolished, and I commend the GPHA for the role they played in pushing this call from all of us. If we succeed in making Ghana our corridors a trading hub, if we succeed in making our corridors a trading hub, trade volumes would bring more revenues to the nation compared to the crumbs from VAT that we get from transit goods. And so our quest to improve more volumes gets undermined by some of these hurdles, including VAT on transit goods. And so we at the Ghana Shippers Authority, we would monitor to ensure the compliance that VAT, on transit goods, has been abolished and all must respect it, so that we'll bring in more volumes. The more trade volumes we get, the more resources we're able to get for Ghana. And so my greetings to my shippers and all that. We use the commercial rate. If you are a shipping line and you are going, you want to price use any rate.
Prof, if you can speak up, I can hardly hear you.
No, I'm saying that the shipping lines were directed to use the commercial exchange rates as given to them by their commercial banks. But in times past, it turned out that some were going, beyond, and so we got the Bank of Ghana to intervene in giving a directive, and a lot of them, I'm told, have complied. But there were few of them.
What is the rate for today?
The rate for today I have to check. I mean,
Okay.
but they themselves would have
Right.
to also advertise, on their systems every day as and when they get the commercial rate from their
Thank you.
commercial bank. So,
Thank you very much. And well, you're still live here on Key Point on TV3, and quite a number of your messages. I'll consolidate all of them and read them as we go on. But our next issue this week, we got notice from the special prosecutor. You remember earlier he had indicated, or the office had indicated, they're going to charge Ken Ofori-Atta and others by the end of this month. The office of special prosecutor has officially charged the former finance minister Kenneth Anaya Ofori-Atta and the Strategic Mobilization Limited and 6 others for corruption-related offenses. In all, there are 78 counts of corruption and corruption-related offenses. The other accused are Ernest Darko Akore, 67 years of age, chef de cabinet to Minister of Finance, or the former Minister of Finance, Emmanuel Kofi Nti, 66, former Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, 64 years, former Commissioner General of the GRA. The rest are Isaac Krentil, 63 years, former Commissioner of the Customs Division of Ghana Revenue Authority. Kojo Damoah, 65, he is a member of Parliament. Yeah. And then also he's a former Commissioner of the Customs Division of the GRA. Evans Eduse, 62 years old, beneficial owner, CEO, and controlling mind of the accused company and the beneficiary company itself, Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, formerly Strategic Mobilization Enhancement Limited. Now, if you recall, on October 31, President John Mahama ordered the immediate termination of all contracts with the SML following the completion of an investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and indicated that the move forms part of a commitment to accountability and transparency in the management of public resources. Here's what we do know, and let's clear this. After this became public, we got notice of Ken Ofori-Atta being taken off, or we were not seeing his picture on the Interpol website on the red notice. The special prosecutor has sought to explain why Ken Ofori-Atta's picture and name is not on the Interpol red notice, or has been taken off or redacted, for the lack of better expression, from the Interpol's red notice database. He says there's some review that's going on. But is that standard practice, lawyer, from what you do know? That if there's a review going on of a sort, because there's some new information available to Interpol, they will take the person's name and details off and the wanted notice off while the review goes on. And afterwards, what? Put him back?
That's if the, yes, show that he should be put back. So the context is that currently there is, let's call it legal proceedings at Interpol.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a unit responsible for this. So it's practically like a court on its own. So OSP, or let's say Ofori-Atta against OSP.
Mm-hmm.
So you file, the Ofori-Atta is complaining that there's no basis to have him on the Interpol red alert, blah, blah, blah. Then OSP says, no, there is. They say, okay, each of you file your case. They've done, then there are responses. So if you read the procedure, it's practical, there's going to be a decision. So judicial, well, okay, it's administrative, since it's not a court. Some administrative proceedings in there. So they'll go through each part to argue their case, present what evidence they have. Then at the end of the day, the committee would come to a decision on it. So if they come to a decision that, yes, Ofori-Atta's name should be fully restored, it will be done. If they come to a decision that there is no basis, then his name will be taken up. So really, and when I say his name will be taken up, let me correct this, because OSP is very particular about it. Mm-hmm. It's not as if his name is totally off the system. As what it means that right now is restricted. You and I can't see it as Ofori-Atta, but the value is the same. Basic thing is that he's no longer a person that if any Interpol member saw today, they can arrest. That's the real point, because once he remained on the list, And when we say Interpol, so Interpol is what? Police organizations around the world. So the countries that have joined, over 100, right? So that means that once he's on the red notice alert, it means that if he was found in Togo, they could arrest him. If he was found in the US, they could arrest him. So now with what has happened with this decision to restrict him, so it means that if they found him today, they will not arrest him. That's the most important thing.
I see.
Yes.
So if he is seen today,
yes,
to the extent that
yes. He's been removed, restricted. We are using effective communication. The key thing is, what is the effect of what has been done? The main effect is that he will not be arrested. So
if he's seen today?
Yes. So whether you call it removal or what do you call it, restriction, the key thing is that would he be arrested today if he's found? No. And now let's situate this. So it's not really about the Interpol red notice. So what it does is to like blacklisting. Okay, so it's something, there's some effect in a blacklisting. But if we look at what Ghanaians have been looking for, which is that he must come back to Ghana, that one is a long shot. Long shot because even if he's arrested today, he will not be automatically brought to Ghana today or tomorrow. No. You see the extradition that the Attorney General is working on, that is what has to be granted. You know, they will do it, send it to the U.S. government. Then the U.S. government will go through it, the Home Department, blah, blah, they'll look at it. Then they will go to court. So eventually there will be court proceedings in the U.S. because Ofori-Atta will contest his return to Ghana, right? And so it's not today or tomorrow. And you see why every day I'm pained and I keep saying that. So the man who allowed Ofori-Atta to escape, that's Kisie Jabe, has to leave the office immediately because he's fueling the suspicion that they colluded. Let me tell you something. You know how this world works. Because people want justice in this case, I've been given credible information that all this while in January, when we started saying that, look, if Ofori-Atta is not coming, then let's take steps to do trial in absentia so that we can confiscate his properties, etc. And it wasn't done, they delayed. It turns out that in the interim, Ofori-Atta is trying to get permanent residence in the U.S.
You got this information from where?
Oh, you know, this work we do, if I had to disclose all my sources would dry up.
You say it's credible.
Yeah, it's credible. Yeah, but I have to keep citizen journalism. I have the right to keep them. So right now, the key thing is that, and that's why it's even irking me more. So as OSP was doing Kukwasa, Ofori-Atta through one of his sons has applied for him to get permanent residence in the U.S.
I see. And
so
this,
that complicates his return.
I see. This you are able to prove.
Sorry?
You're able to prove because this is from a credible source.
Yes.
So you have enough information to prove that indeed he has applied to get permanent.
Oh, no, they will release it. But I look at where the source is coming from. I believed it. And of course, if push comes to shove, we'll go into the U.S. system. That at least is there. Okay, we'll do a request, RTI request to the Homeland Security and the Home Department in the U.S. So the key thing is that as we're here from January, we started asking for trial in absentia. OSP came and were giving us ridiculous, ludicrous answers that no, you cannot do trial in absentia. 11 months, only to do a U-turn. So then it fuels the suspicion. The analysts are like, oh, so were they denying trial in absentia so that it gives Ofori-Atta enough opportunity to get permanent residence?
Because they're going to court on Monday.
Yes.
The fugitives, as has been described, they are not in the country, obviously. So the trial is going to go on.
Yes.
What's going to happen on Monday is they're going to hear them.
Yes, but the fact
that will be in the absence of Ofori-Atta.
Preliminary
Does that amount
matters
to a trial in absentia?
Yes, the trial is, let's say this, before the trial in absentia will be done, Article 19, Clause 3 requires that the OSP will prove to the court that Ofori-Atta has been notified, the very thing we have been talking about. As to how they do the notification, Monday will come, then we'll see. If they've done it, fine. But if they've not, then it means that for Ofori-Atta and Esakore, his chef de cabinet, or is it chief de cabinet, his PA, let's use the simple term, his PA, the trial for them will not go on if there is no proof, cogent proof that they've been notified. Because let's read 19 Clause 3. It says that he has to be notified. So if the accused is notified of the trial and he doesn't come, then that's when the court will go on. But please, that technical term, well, in this case, I would say technical because it's not cheap. Notification. That's what OSP has to prove to the court. And this is what lawyer Thaddeus Sori had been saying from day one. You know, Thaddeus Sori was one of the first to say, let's do trial in absentia. In January, when this matter came, if you check the records, I think for me, in reading commentary on this matter, lawyer Thaddeus Sori was the first to ask for trial in absentia. Then later, all of us joined. Me, initially, you know, we thought, oh, he would come. And, you know, but it turned out that at least some of us converted far earlier and joined Thaddeus Sori in asking for trial in absentia. And OSP kept stonewalling, whilst Ofori-Atta is taking steps to get better residents in the U.S. so that his coming here will be more complex. And don't forget that he has huge investments in the U.S. Huge investment. And the American government will not lightly throw him under the bus. So you have to be very careful. This is a political decision. Look, at a point, after Kissi Ejabi is left, later in our series to get justice, we may have to organize a demonstration to go to the U.S. Embassy and present a petition. That's what we have to do. We have to mobilize Ghanaians after Kissi Ejabi is left, because that's the first point. We can't trust Kissi Ejabi to do this work because he saw Ofori-Atta leave. He saw the letter. I'm happy Professor Jampo is here. Please, Mr. Okansi, when he gets to this, let him explain the political theory of the state. How, when I keep saying, when I quote the constitutional provisions and I show that under the constitution, Kissi Ejabi had a mandatory duty to inform Ghanaians once he saw Ofori-Atta was leaving, and he alleges that the other.
So you expect that you address a press conference?
Exactly. So I want Professor Jampo from the governance experts to come. And there's also governance. Let all the governance experts weigh in. Then we see that it's a serious constitutional matter.
But you see, in this instance, I'll come to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But his lawyers are saying that he has not been formally served.
So that's why we said on Monday we'll hear that. So let me just read it. That's why I said cogent evidence how he's been served. 19.3. Just for those who want to hear the constitutional words, then we'll move on. It says the trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial. So after he has been duly notified. So Monday we'll see, maybe if OSP did it and has not told us yet, well, Monday we'll see. You see, but the key point we're making is that the extradition itself, look, it's not a joke. It's a whole process. That's how come I said after we get Kissi Ejabi out, we'll have to mobilize Ghanaians. Once the U.S. government understands that citizens understand what's going on, that extradition is political, maybe it will help them to bring Ofori-Atta. But if we leave it to TV analysis, you know, they also gauge public opinion. If a few experts come and sit here and say extradition, and then lots of our citizens are not bothered, it won't happen today. But when we mass up a lawful demonstration quietly to the U.S. Embassy and present a petition that we want the American government to bring down Ofori-Atta, it would help.
So that extradition process is where I reserve that for lawyer Christian Mamhesi because he's written quite extensively on it. So I'll come to you on it. But don't be Apiakobi.
Right. In fact, I'm a little worried about the whole process because I've heard of lawyers of Mr. Ofori-Atta also writing to OSP and responses coming and publications thereof. And I asked the question, upon what information is lawyers writing to the OSP? Is it the case that OSP has served Ofori-Atta a process for which reason they are responding and even suggesting dates of his arrival and his interrogation? Is that the case? It's another big question we have to answer. If there was no such correspondence or information, lawyers will ordinarily not act without instructions. So the presumption is that Mr. Ofori-Atta has knowledge of any such invitation and has instructed his lawyers to respond. Otherwise, the lawyers would not, out of the blue, just come out and respond. And your relationship with your client is not in perpetuity. for you to say that once I hear that my client you have mentioned my name, I write. No. In all situations, you must take instructions from your client, because when he is even your client on retainership basis, something new comes, you need to inform him and then take instructions in relation to that which would have come to the fore. So I'm worried. I don't understand why lawyers will respond if he has not been informed of anything. And the reduction from public view doesn't connote withdrawal of his name from the shadow of Interpol.
So
It says that it is only the public who cannot see.
But he's still
It is
on the
not by
list.
way of publication. But the request from OSP is still there, probably with his name and documents attached. But it is that for the purpose of Mr. Furiata's complaint of service, they want to investigate how authentic the application is. And indeed, service does not connote hearing from the public. So if I'm coming here and you have sent me a process and you are talking about it even on your platform, that does not connote service. And indeed, for criminal proceedings of that nature, you must serve the person, not...
That is, that you must serve the
that person.
Physically.
The suspect, you must
him.
Serve him. Only to say that if you are not able to serve him personally, there are other means of service, genuine service, substituted service. You go to the courts and find the court's orders, and the court will order you how to effectively serve that person. Circumstances will determine. Again, non-service. When you don't serve a party, a process, you don't start anything. So I'm worried. Why will the Interpol place him on red alert when there is so probably evidence of non-service? So I'm also worried.
So that's why, because they talk about the availability of new information, a review process that's ongoing.
Right.
And reason why,
I want to believe that Interpol was convinced of this primary requirement of service. That is why he was so advertised. If that is not the situation, then I'm worried about that informality.
But then again, does it mean, and this is what people said earlier, does it mean that if, for instance, if he is seen today, he cannot be arrested?
Yes, because from the records and from what the lawyer is saying, he has not been officially notified, means he has not been served. And what the lawyers are also saying is that if he has not been served, then he's not ready for any. And again, he says that he will return once he's officially notified. And I'm saying that the notification must be official. I mean, that is the requirement of the law. But when OSP also says that I saw him leave, I couldn't arrest him. OSP has police powers as per his law. So OSP can arrest. So if OSP, if OSP didn't arrest him, he has to explain why he didn't arrest him. And in any case, if OSP also wanted to formalize the arrest, he could have gone for an absconding warrant, which would have been served to the border security agencies for them to even effect the arrest. So complaining of inability to arrest, for me, it doesn't stand with me. He had all the powers and all the opportunities to effect the arrest. It was by his decision not to arrest that he was not arrested. So Furiata didn't do anything by going through the process and getting out of the country. We cannot charge him. The person who was supposed to have done the thing also, if he decided not to do it, that he has the explanation.
Well, he's explained why. He said he didn't have the cooperation of the other state agencies.
But he himself didn't need any cooperation. He himself, if I'm suspected of having done something that requires my arrest, he himself is vested in enough powers. In fact, most of these laws, when they were crafted, I was part of the discussion. So even the Yoko boss and his deputy They have powers of arrest under the Police Service Act. Because they have police powers. It is only the Gold Board that the power was limited to interrogation and searching. There was a reason to do that. So Gold Board has no power to arrest because Gold Board has not been vested with the totality of the police mandate. It is limited. If you go to Gold Board, as you see that there is limitation in the powers as given to them. Now, the confiscation of property. In fact, as Martin says, the Act allows for trial in absentia. But it cannot start when you have not done this basic requirement of service. So it is so important because once you have not served him formally, and I want to believe that the lawyers' reliance and insistence on formal service is coming out of their knowledge of not being served formally. And therefore, they are also picking information probably from the media, which I think is also not right on the side of... I would not write to OSP upon what I know from the media if my client has not been officially served. I would not do that. So I don't think that it was in anybody's business to attempt to respond to any invitations if you have not been served. And the media is not a proper place to serve an accused person or a suspect. Now, on the trial, once they are served properly, formally, and I have also discussed service by substitution. So if for anything at all you can't find a person, please go for substitution and serve him. Once he is served formally, then the trial can commence in absentia. The only thing that, in fact, this one, I know that I had extensive debate with my leadership at the time when we were discussing this act, that we should have, the court should have opportunity to bring our orders of confiscation in the absence of the accused person. And my leadership at the time, they debated me thoroughly. I said, no, he shall be, he must be in the court. I said, look, if he steps out, and for any reason steps out, then you undermine the power of the court to confiscate. Somebody said, go and sit down. How long have you been here? And I said, oh, me, I'm a practical person. I'm a practicing lawyer. And I'm saying that if the accused person manages to step out, it becomes difficult. So all the work done will be constantly. And this is in the law now. You need his presence in court for the court to be able to confiscate. It is in the law. You go check it.
That's what
you go check
let me
it.
see.
Because there was extensive debate on this, because I was insisting that let the court have the power to pronounce it even in your absence. But we succumb to the seniority power.
No, but I see. When it's trial in absentia, once it doesn't come, this one cannot override the constitutional provision.
I'm saying that you look at confiscation of abscess in absentia. Look at it. Isn't there? I mean, it generated a lot of fury.
And so that would be bad. The judge will not be tied down. The judge will override it.
You understand? If the law says the courts are servants of legislation, so if the legislation is served on the court that allow Professor Jampo to go,
have discretion.
The court doesn't have discretion, but to allow Professor Jampo to go. So sometimes experiences in the legislature is important, but also as a junior's experience is also important. So this is where we are. We come to a crossroad where the court probably, after a trial, may pronounce guilt or anything. I'm not suggesting that. That when it is so pronounced, then we go into how do we go for remedies as a state. And that is where we are going to probably encounter some of these difficulties.
I see loopholes. I was telling you, I will to be outstanding. No, section 50.
Your attack should not go to the man OSP. It must go to the law as enacted by Parliament. And these are some of the amendments that could be recommended. But I am telling you from a practical, personal experience that it got me to. I will mention the name too.
Let's look at the section. Otherwise, it will create problem. Let me look at section 50.
I need to move on.
The conditions for the confiscation. And please, let's just make this small distinction. while the trial is going on, what we do is called freezing. So for the freezing, once they file the charges, OSP itself can freeze for 14 days. But at the end of 14 days, the powers elapse. So it goes to court to get a court order to continue confirmation. So that's freezing.
Is different.
Yes, that's what I say. So now confiscation is when the person has lost, that the accused has been convicted. They want to. So the difference is that confiscation, we take it permanently.
And even with freezing, upon time, a year or thereafter, it lapses.
Yeah,
so freezing is different from confiscation.
The Anti-Money Laundering Act, we've amended, and the OSP one too is not tied down like that.
So I am saying that when it comes to confiscation, that's where we are going to.
So can we look at this? We say that.
But Martin, if you allow me to finish.
No, I think
you take your time to read. Now,
round it up for me.
Beyond confiscation, then we go into the extradition processes. And as Martin says, it's another process of its own that has to be initiated by the Attorney General from here, and then applications filed in the US. And the process will go to the very end upon determination. If the answer is extradite him, then the US government will send him. Martin said it's a political decision. It's not only political, it's political and legal. So the legal process will generate a decision, and it will be left with the political establishment to implement. So when we are able to secure the determination in the courts, then you are confronted with an implementation system which is also political.
Let's correct something. Before even they decide to go, it's like prosecution. They can say they won't even go. That's where the political element is huge. It's not after if the judge determines and they refuse, they will get trouble. So they may well decide not to go. They will assess the whole file and say they won't go to court at all.
You see, the whole process will start from the government prosecutor in the US.
Exactly. So you say I will go.
This same concept of nolli prosequa is also applicable to them. They formulated it. So if the state of the United States says that, well, this case is not prosecutable and therefore I won't prosecute, that's another challenge we will face. But if the Attorney General in the United States agrees that we must commence an action, it's an action by the state. And therefore we go through the whole process. And when you finish, the implementation also goes back to politics. So it is not an easy direction to take. But it is also worth taking. For nothing at all, it provides avenue for learning.
Indeed. Well, Professor Jampo, you see, because this matter has both the legal and the governance side of things.
Let me do one thing. Just 1 second. I've seen a practical case, a trial in absentia. The guy went. After that, they confiscated. The properties were just sold recently. Currently, we are chasing for the certificate of purchase. The guy ran away. The court finished and confiscated.
It depends on.
And they've sold the property.
But I'm telling you that if you check the law,
thank you very much.
He must be in the court.
You have different positions on this. The OSP has been clear on why it was unable to do what two lawyers are asking he should have done. And to the effect, 78 charges of corruption and corruption-related offenses have been slapped on Ken Ofori-Atta and then also some 6 other persons, all in this matter that the OSP is investigating. He's still out of the country, by the way. His lawyers state he has not been formally served. Could anything have been done differently?
You see, Alfred, I am a bit worried listening to Martin and some other lawyers. It appears it's going to be a very Herculean task to bring Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana to stand trial in person, looking at the processes that would have to be resorted to. It's going to be very laborious. It's going to be very difficult because don't forget, he also has lawyers. And so they will be fighting what the state the measures and the efforts that the state will be putting in place. And that is why I believe, Martin, you've done well. When we started doing public discourse in media, you were not part, but you've come, I think you've carved a niche for yourself. I think I like the argument, the bits that you brought in, that then the OSP should have at a point in time when he realized that he was helpless, I mean, he himself said he was helpless. I called NIB, they were not minding me. I called this one, they won't pick my calls and all that. So I'm saying, maybe, you see, he should have prevented, first of all, he should have prevented the flight or exit of Ken Ofori-Atta. Oftentimes, when people are given mandates, okay, they settle in, and if you don't really sit down to read about your own mandate, there are certain things you may not be aware of. And so I see you, I look at my act, and I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know whether the OSP didn't know that they have the power to arrest. I don't know. I said, I don't know whether they didn't know. And the other bit is that, well, so that's what I'm saying, that you have to socialize yourself effectively in your own act. Okay, because
if you say that you don't know your own act, then you don't qualify to be that.
No, but so then what was the point in coming to say that I called these agencies to come and help, and they all, let me down? If you knew that you yourself had the power to arrest. The second bit, is that
they had opportunity to also seek absconding warrant from the court.
Well,
and others will do his work for him.
The second
you don't arrest people by your mouth.
Yeah. The second bit is that, you see, we oftentimes have tended to believe that when it comes to arrest, it's always about, it's a function of the security agencies. Okay? This is what is ingrained heavily and deeply in our psyche as a people. But dear Ghanaians, there's something we call citizen arrest.
That's it.
Okay, we are the ultimate repository of the powers of the land that are exercised by appointees. Let me tell you a story. One day I had gone to a funeral in a village, and I saw somebody using a government vehicle to carry a casket. I stopped them. I told them that you have no right to do that.
A government vehicle?
A government vehicle. I don't drive government vehicle to social events. I want to use my own car. Government vehicles are for government work. But I saw somebody using a state vehicle to carry a casket.
A casket?
Said, yes. Stop. We stopped them. And said, who are you? I said, I'm nobody. But you can't do this. And I exercised that, I mobilized people to appreciate that it is our taxes that are used to buy fuel in this car that is being abused. And so they joined me. We made sure that they got the casket off the vehicle. I said, where do you, I don't want to give, but we were able to prevent that. So my point is, at that point in time, when the OSP saw that he was helpless, and maybe they didn't also appreciate their own powers that they have to arrest. What prevented them from, these days, every now and then, OSP is holding press conference. So why didn't they organize a press conference to tell us, fellow Ghanaians, we wanted to do X, Y, Z. We are calling ABC, they are not minding us. And so because of that, we are aware that the
How about the absconding warrant?
Well,
from the court.
So that the good people of Ghana would have appreciated what you were going through. In that case, the OSP would have escaped the current Martin Kpebu blame on him, that you knew and you were sanctioned, you looked on and then you sanctioned the exit of the man. And so I think that it's a difficult situation. It appears that the fight against corruption through the laid down legal processes is always going to be slow. But our own attitude as officials who are mandated and given the power to do these things must also not compound the delays and the challenges and the problems. So look, somebody is telling me that if you don't take it, we may go through the entire tenure of this administration and the man will still not be here. Because don't forget that he's also smart and resorting to all manner of legal gymnastics just to be sure. It may not be time bound, but the point is, you strike when the iron is hot. And every Ghanaian, you see, I'm telling you, the survival and stability of our fourth Republican democratic practice is to a large extent also contingent on the kinds of things that are done by this administration in fighting and in addressing corruption. Absolutely. If it becomes business as usual and we perpetuate the cliche that Ubi Abasa, it will be difficult, because then people would want to take things into their own hands. And so it is important that examples are set. It is important that the right things are done. And like I said, agencies of state that are given the task and mandate to handle some of these things must also set up, and they must be up and doing. It appears that in our part of the world, anytime people are given appointment, they go to perpetrate or do the status quo. Nobody goes in there with a psyche of, okay, what can I do to challenge and to question? So look at what happened. You are going to recruit soldiers, and the status quo has been that everybody should be crowded and we should all go in. I mean, when you know that best practices elsewhere, people are able to even apply online and they do things to decongest. You know that unemployment is a serious issue in our part of the world. Mm-hmm. And so if you say that there is an avenue for employment and people must go, there will be stampede. And so what happened to those who were in charge? Why didn't they say, well, this is how we've done it, but today or in our time, we want to challenge the status quo and do something different? And so I'm saying that as we all get the opportunity to serve, the idea of how was it done yesterday must be challenged. Yeah. We should also have innovative...
a justification for the change.
For the change. We should also have an innovative ways of working within the confines of the law, but in a manner that challenges the status quo. Let us begin to let citizens know that we are appointees and duty bearers. Even though you may be answerable to your appointing authority, you are ultimately also answerable to the ordinary citizenry whose powers are being exercised by you. Mm-hmm. And so the citizens have got a right to ask questions. They've got the right to demand accountability. Mm-hmm. And when we think that we are at our wits' end, when we think that we are facing a lot of frustration, I'm telling you, the most powerful force within the body politic is a citizenry. And so I was thinking that it would have been better, OSP would have escaped some of these blames or accusations.
Article
1, Article 35.
That's the difference between a lawyer and a non-lawyer.
Oh no, let Rob do the 2.5.
Sovereignty resides with the people.
Yeah, it's also political.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Sovereignty resides with the people, and so I think that some way, somehow, in the course of time, the OSP must come apologize to the people.
Apologize, he should leave.
So let me bring in.
There are currently 15 petitions for his removal.
Okay,
that's why
let me bring
online.
Okay,
15 petitions. But
I want. 1 minute. I'll come to you.
And the basis for my calling
to make the point, and then so that
I'm just explain the basis for my call.
Process.
The basis for my call is the fact that his explanation that he called some security agencies and they let him down, for me, is only an excuse. He could have informed the good people of Ghana and would have known what to do.
Okay, Dr. Zato, just on this, especially because of what's going to be happening on Monday, that yes, the OSP is going to court, but then Kenneth Ofori-Atta and one other are still out of the jurisdiction. His lawyers say that he has not been formally served. And this is coming at a time when the OSP itself is also facing the criticism of what he could or the office could have done to prevent Kenneth Ofori-Atta from leaving office. I mean, the coming days pregnant or leaving the country, I beg your pardon, the coming days pregnant with what to expect. But could anything have been done differently?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to start by stating clearly that I believe that the OSP has become, that office, that whole institution has become a relic, and that it has outlived its usefulness. It is now a big drain on the finances of this country, and I believe that if I had the power, that whole office should be shut down to close and then close on. It's no more fit for purpose.
How do you mean?
I want to state that because if you look at, just do a very simple value for money analysis, that if you look at the amount of money this country has spent on the OSP and the expected return on investment, I don't think we've gotten it. if you look at the amount of money retrieved, the amount of people prosecuted, the amount of people jail, it is not a good investment for this country. That money could have been used to improve the Tumu town roads. That money could have been used to improve the Wire Big Push Tumu Chuchulega road. That money could have been used to do other better things. So that's my number one thing. 2, the charges that the OSP has filed is a Hail Mary throw.
What do you mean?
The overall objective of those charges is to get some powerful voices calling for his removal off his back. Yeah. There are powerful forces whose voices are heard on the corridors of power in the Jubilee House. There are powerful voices who, when they speak, people in authority listen. This charge sheet is just an attempt to throw something at the wolves, to throw something at the hawks, so that they will appease themselves and then they will let you go. And that's why I personally think that, no, that is not the way to go. It's a Hail Mary through the objective to save his ass. And I don't think it shouldn't work. I withdraw it. I withdraw it. Sorry, I withdraw it. Not his job. That is what I believe. Thirdly, you see, there was a plan, if you ask me. I think that there was a plan, there was a theory out there. The ultimate objective was bring Ken Ofori-Atta down, dehumanize him, disgrace him, put him in jail, and reduce him to a non-entity. I think that was the original plan. That was the objective. Show him where power lies, dehumanize him, bring him down, put him into jail, and drag him down there to tell people that I've brought this mighty, I've brought the whole mighty Ken Ofori-Atta down. But once that wasn't happening, I believe that the office went into a kind of panic mode. Once that happening, it ceased to be a legal problem now. It became a political process. It became a political process, therefore, because you now think that the political leaders, that the people who are entering the politics, now wanted to do. This issue was being discussed in Parliament. Anything going to discuss in Parliament is political partisan. This issue has now taken very entrenched political positions. And that's why I believe that when the OSP felt that he could not have that grand prize, he could not have Ken as that sacrificial lamb of the powerful men that he has brought to justice in handcuffs, dragged around on the streets of Accra to court. That was when the panic set in. And for me, when you then put all this together, you then begin to ask yourselves, is this OSP office worth its salt? Should we continue to have that office there? It doesn't. Because look, we sat here, and even me, Martin from the last I was saying that, can you serve the person by whatever it is? Can you call it? Look, we are sitting here. The United Nations sometimes conducts its business online. Yeah. Huge multinational companies whose money or resources are powerful than this country have transacted and concluded businesses online. Powerful people have done that. The United States, the President of the United States has signed laws and bills through technology. So I ask the question, one, couldn't they have done a conference call and interviewed Ken? Couldn't they have done that? Agreed. They could have done that. Two, couldn't they have sent 3, 4, 5, even to the United States? Okay, you said you are not feeling well. And they would have gone with his lawyers, sit down in a room, like civilized people, discuss these things, and then explain these things and take. Couldn't they have done? They could have done that. Couldn't you have spoken to the people at the Ghana embassy in the United States to facilitate the process where, if you want, you can now meet in the Ghana High Commission, which is considered Ghana's land, where I think the laws of Ghana kick in, and you do that. Because by the principles of diplomacy and international relations, the land and the soil and the office of the Ghana Armed Force, Ghana High Commission or embassy is still considered Ghana's land. You could have done that. In other words, there were a number of alternative measures, alternative approaches, alternative solutions to still speak to him, to still get the answers or lack of thereof, and to engage in these things without necessarily putting us through all this hula baloo of habeas corpus, or is it habeas corpus or whatever it is, of trying to get him here. You could have avoided this charade. You could have avoided this whole drama. But to choose the drama, to choose to go for this, it means that there were other motives.
I see.
Other than purely trying to get justice. And that is why I believe that office is no more fit for people.
Well, I just want to ask Martin something. Martin, 1 minute. Let us also face it. I mean, the man is in the middle of an action, doing something. Beyond, I mean, some of you asking that he be kicked out. Okay. Isn't it possible for us to use some of these criticisms and contrary views we are expressing to strengthen what he's doing. Because my view is, you want him out, but the next time you are bringing in another person to come and start all over again.
Oh, there are
and
officers under him. There is a director of prosecution, Isidore Tufo. There is a deputy SP, a deputy Cynthia, what's her surname? Cynthia Lamte. Cynthia Lamte.
I see.
A deputy.
Well,
Cynthia Lamte is even far senior. I'm coming. We are coming. Cynthia Lamte is far senior to Kisi Ejabin at the back. Kisi Ejabin is a baby to Cynthia Lamte.
Christian Esma must be sitting for a while. Let me bring him.
So there are people.
Is it from your view, Esma, there's 78 charges Dr. Zato talks about it being a fishing expedition in his view. But reading through it, would you say the OSP, having taken this period to do the investigation, has a sure path from Monday going forward to demand accountability for us all?
It will be unethical on my part as a lawyer to run him down in respect of the 78 charges. But I believe that what I can say to that is that he's going to have a tall order to prove all of that, because in criminal jurisprudence, it is required of prosecution to prove his case. And the burden that is affixed to the prosecution is very, very high. So to have 78 of this and to go through the mens rea, to prove the mens rea and the actus rea. So when we see the mens rea, we talk about the blameworthiness of the mind, the intention to commit an offense. And then the actus reus is the acts, the circumstantial steps taken, the circumstantial evidence, and which also includes the acts taken by an accused person. So it is the mens rea plus the actus reus that is equal to a criminal offense. And in certain situations,
conviction.
Yeah, conviction. And in certain situations, one could be dispensed of in situations like street liability and all of that. You see, so he's definitely going to have a very big or a tall order to deal with, to scale over, because to deal with all of them, unless, of course, he knows what he has under his sleeve in terms of investigations, which culminates into evidence gathered, which would help him convict the case that he has. Other than that, it would just be a walk in the park, as in he will not achieve what he is seeking out to. And we must also be minded that when it comes to criminality, the slightest doubt that is cast, the accused will have his day, and the prosecution's case fails. So it is much work for the prosecution to do, and it is also for the defense lawyers just to cast doubts in it, because 78 is definitely a tall order. And like I said, as a practicing lawyer, I will not sit on such a platform to say that they are needless, or it's probably a poor job done, or to say that he's just put up something to represent something. I cannot say that.
Okay, obviously, and that's not the path I want to take you. But let's stay, because this process of extradition, I know one you think quite extensively on.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take? That is because the option of the OSP is to go on this path.
Yes.
And not a trial in absentia.
I remember when this whole extradition thing started, I had made a lot of pronouncements on it. I'd mentioned that it is never an easy journey, because for extradition to happen, it first starts, Ghana, we have the enabling laws, which is the Extradition Act, Act 22. And it deals with the fact that there must be a request for surrender. Now, the request for surrender of the fugitive. So in this situation, Mr. Ofori-Atta is the alleged fugitive. Now, after that is done, then it follows with the minister's order. And the minister's order goes to the district court for the warrant of arrest. Now, when that is done, we also have, then it follows through with the apprehension. Then there will be a hearing. Now, that's where the problem is going to be. when the hearing also affords that particular person the opportunity to say that I don't want to be extradited to that particular country. So in this place, Mr. Ofori-Atta would object in the US that he would not want to come to Ghana. And it is a whole trial that is going to happen. Should he be successful, then the US government would bring him down. But if it is not, then the answer is obvious. Also, key to note is that there must be what we call dual criminal offense or extraditable offense, which is the offense that we are claiming he has committed. It should be that which has been listed under the offenses under the extradition laws, which both affect the US and Ghana. And when that is upheld, then the extradition process will also go through. We must also be minded that there are some restrictions which comes to it. The first one is just what I have said. If it is not an extraditable offense, then obviously US or during the trial it will be objected. It will be one of the grounds that his lawyers would raise. On the other hand, too, the issue of political sentiments comes in. If it is a matter of political tracking, as in he's a political target, for which reason this particular action is mounted against him, the extradition laws indicate that becomes a restriction. And it would also be for his lawyers to amplify that if they so believe. I mean, they have room to play out their legal theory in terms of defense that they would want to put out. So these are the things that happen. And then after all of these intricacies that would happen at the trial, then will follow what we call the surrender. The surrender, basically, the namesake, the state of US will now have to give Mr. Ofori-Atta to Ghana that, I mean, having gone through the trial, we are convicted in our minds that Mr. Ofori-Atta is free. I mean, is free from all legal hurdles that would hold him down in the US to face the criminal trial or action that is being brought against him in Ghana. And that would be it. Also, be minded that if the surrender is issued and the state US holds Mr. Ofori-Atta, that's it theoretically, I mean, in legal theory, is held for more than 2 months. The state of the US would have to leave Mr. Ofori-Atta as a free man. So it basically means that it puts a time limit on the person who is so declared to be as surrendered to the receiving state to immediately put processes in place to extradite him to the receiving state so that that person would not be left off the hook. So, I mean, basically, in a nutshell, this complements the procedures when it comes to extradition laws.
A very important information there, because I need to round up this in a minute. I need 1 minute, quickly.
Just Martin. See, Martin, sometimes you have very strong views on some of these issues, and my view on what the campaign you are trying to wage now, I mean, respectfully, is that, look, if the OSP truly wants to be committed to its mandate, then in my view, I would rather we give him more pressure so that he focuses and gets committed to what he is supposed to do, rather than a call for, oh, he should go, let's sack him and all that, quite distract, because then you would have divided attention of pushing corruption, fighting against corruption, at the same time trying to remain in power. So why is it, if it is possible for us to channel or turn our criticisms into pressure mounted on him so that he gives us more?
No.
We can't trust him.
That is why my concern is not of the person, it's of the whole office, because now we've seen that office under two directors. We've seen them. And now I'm saying that if you are a country, imagine you were a businessman, imagine it was your money you invested in the OSP. I'm these two directors, and you are now saying that let us see the value for money. Would you continue to invest your money?
Okay, then Mr. Okanse, me one sentence.
You wouldn't have done that.
Right now, what we're saying, a man who allows the most valuable suspect to run away. Like the way in football you say most valuable player. You see the most valuable suspect running away and you don't inform Ghanaians, you can't trust him. And then as I mentioned, in the meantime, Ofori-Atta, this 11 months, when he stalled this trial in absentia, Ofori-Atta is regularizing his stay in the US.
You said
Mr.
you have that.
On Tuesday, there will be a demonstration.
Effect,
Reverend Apostle Abraham Labi is organizing a demonstration. Please, Ghanaians.
That is to the next issue. Gentlemen, thank you.
Labi is organizing a demonstration. Please, Tuesday, come out, 25th, come out and support him.
This week, and I'm reserving the commentary for just Lawyer Apiakobi on this one, and then also to you, Mam Hesse and Martin People. The Community Court of Justice of ECOWAS earlier in the week dismissed the application filed by the former Chief Justice, which sought to temporarily halt the fact-finding committee's work that inquired into the petitions for her removal. Because this is an ongoing matter, which I certainly don't want to sink our teeth with more time in it. But also, the Attorney General's argument that the ECOWAS court lacked jurisdiction to hear this particular case brought before it by the former Chief Justice was also thrown out. He has been given 30 days to file a response. Let's give you some snippets of what happened in the ECOWAS courtroom. Take a look.
The court hereby declares that the application for revision of judgment number ECW/CCJ/JUD/44/23 delivered on the 24th of November 2023 is inadmissible. And for that reason, sitting in public, the court declares that it has jurisdiction to determine this case. However, declares the application is inadmissible.
So this is it. In the next 30 days, the Attorney General is expected to file a response to this case. Honorable Apiakobi, just a quick one on this.
The jurisdiction of the ECOWAS court, apart from the institutional expectations and relationships within the sub-region, they have also a jurisdiction to entertain human rights abuses or alleged human rights abuses. So the person has the opportunity to apply to the court for determination of matters affecting that person's human rights violations. So if the former Attorney General has filed a process like that, I think it's in order. There's a ruling that says that file your submissions within such and such a time, and therefore the other institutions, the Attorney General will also file its written submissions, and the matter will be determined by the court. And I want to emphasize that this is in respect of human rights only, the jurisdiction of the court.
Indeed.
So yes, they are challenging.
Thank you.
Let's see how it goes. But beyond that,
yes,
quick
one. I need to. There's no more time.
I'd always maintain. I mean, when the matter was filed at the ECOWAS court, and the learned Attorney General raised the objection to jurisdiction, it is on record that I mentioned that it will not fly, because if you keenly look at the constitution of the court and the authority that has been bestowed on it, you see, this is it. In 1991, the ECOWAS established the court, and basically it had interpretation jurisdiction. Now, relative to 2001, then the court expanded. Its jurisdiction was expanded through revised treaty. Now, and then the supplementary protocol, which was also filed. I don't want to go into the details of that because of time. Expanded it to include human rights and for individual persons to be able to apply to the court.
Thank you very much. To do this. And I had some messages earlier which I want to clear. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo says a call for military force. What next after NIMOS? The events unfolding across our nation are nothing short of an invasion. What we are witnessing in the forest, river bodies, and mining communities is not mere illegal mining. It is an entrenched internal aggression against the Republic of Ghana. Bent NIMOS, fallen soldiers, and terrorized civilians now lie as stark evidence of a war we have consistently underestimated. he says that a direct challenge to the sovereignty of the state. This is why, after 9 months, we must ask what next. And the answer is, as I've consistently stated over the years, is clear and unavoidable. An uncompromising full-scale military operation, not a mixed task force, is what Togbe Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is also proposing. And a number of you, Dr. Joshua Zato, I question him on the basis for his earlier position that Gold Board is benefiting from the illegal mining, that's gold from illegal mining. He said he had a study, or there had been widely published studies to back that position. He sent something, and this, let's put it on the screen. This is it. This is what Dr. Zato said. In fact, he sent to back that position. And if you read the full details of it, a number of your references, Dr. Zato, in this study, he says the artisanal and small-scale method is one of the essential rural non-agricultural livelihood. They reference a study in 2016, 2020, 2018. And then also you do the Delve World Bank Ghana Country Profile 2019, 2024. There is no current study 2025 indeed backing that position that you espoused earlier, that Gold Board is benefiting from illegal mining as of now. So how am I supposed to use this to justify this statement that you made?
Okay, so I
because all of this is 2020, 2024.
Yes, so I shared you some citations. There's another one that there are two. I sent you two of them.
This is the second one.
This is the second one. So I sent two citations that tell you some studies that, of course, I'm not going to read all of them here. But the point I'm making is that if you take this and juxtapose it to the whole idea that the Gold Board did not just come out of a blue, it came out from PMMC.
Yeah, so I'm saying that you made an emphatic statement.
And that value chain, there's a long value chain coming from where the gold is gone.
But you made an emphatic statement that Gold Board is benefiting from Galamsey gold.
Galamsey gold's ends are
and you said there's a study to back it.
Say there are studies.
So is this what you're saying?
They say a lot of studies. These are some of the studies.
No, but this study doesn't back what you're saying.
Have you read it?
No, this is it. We are all saying
No, you're just saying a citation. You've not read it. I'm telling you that. So now it's here.
The reference here is 2024.
Yes. So no. Exactly. It was 2025. So that's what I said.
The reference here is 2024.
Remember, I said that there's a value chain. And so that value chain, Gold Board came after PMMC. So if it was entering the PMMC, it came to now.
So are you saying that the Gold for Oil program
yes, it's possible.
Benefited from Galamsey?
Yes, it also the Gold Purchase also did all the gold programs. That's my argument. My argument that Galamsey gold has always been in the value chain of gold in this country.
I see. I put out what you sent all of them because you said there were studies, but clearly some of the references you are making
gold has always been in our gold value chain.
Some of the references you are putting up doesn't support the argument.
The only way
earlier.
we can do this is to make sure that we remove Galamsey gold. How do we do that?
So the references you put out, which I have shared, doesn't back that position. So we can let's look for the current ones. I think that your point is well made.
Okay, thank you,
gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Next week, we have another conversation. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. And as always, I've been clothed by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you. You can locate them on the Spintex Road. Call them on this number for this outfit on many, 0244-238-2341. 0244-238-341. Kogra Clothing. I'm Alfred Okanse. Have a great weekend.
Had a party